This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to our mayor and council workshop. We're going to start out with our fiscal year budget meeting. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
That's all right. Hey, it's raining and it's miserable outside.
I should come back for another job interview.
What?
I thought you were sitting down for another job interview. I'm like, didn't we do this before? You didn't eat Marilee's brownies.
Did you put,
Remember that?
she put.
I remember.
That's right.
Now that I've had Marilee's baking, I kicked myself for
Oh, make a good impression. I'm not gonna eat.
that. Okay.
The lemon squares are delicious.
My grandmother.
It's good. I could sit here and eat all of them and be in misery.
Well, good. You keep them on the other side of you.
Huh?
I said you keep them on the other side of you.
I am.
Well, I didn't make any sugar-free food. Sorry, Greg.
I'll eat my water.
I have made some sugar-free stuff.
Okay.
Because Jim Cochran's also diabetic.
Did you sell your bike yet?
Yes.
Go yourself. The floor is yours.
Okay.
I got Actually,
Alrighty, so where we had left
So
off
nice.
was street maintenance and repair. And, you'll see that, so I took what Greg was anticipating needing to be done this year and basically split the highway user revenue in half, pretty close to half. So part of it is going to go towards the roads that we need to do, and the other part of highway user revenue, if you remember from 3 weeks ago, that is going to, up there, hold on.
Hey, Rachel,
Yes, sir.
can you blur that up just a little bit?
I will blow it up for
Thank you.
sure.
I don't think we went in the same blow-up fashion that you're describing. He just wants the numbers to be bigger
I'm
for our
bigger.
old eyes.
Is that big enough?
We don't need to blow up the whole,
Can you guys see that?
That's
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
but I have my copy.
Why am I not finding that?
Street
There it is, that's why, because I moved it to capital outlay. So the other part of highway user revenue I would like to use because Public Works really needs a new dump truck. And it would be, I split it down, Marilee and I talked about this, and I split it down so it's 70% general fund, and then it's 15 water and 15 sewer. Because it does benefit all three funds, but as a capital asset, I felt it was most appropriate to be general fund primarily. So back to where we had been. That was street maintenance and repair. I'm gonna try to just point out the major things to you guys so that this doesn't take past our 7 o'clock regular meeting. Most of the numbers are just based off of what's been in the past. The trash, we didn't get to the trash last meeting, did we? So, as you may or may not know, what we charge residents for trash and recycling, we are still at a loss for. So we have the first 3 years worth of pricing from J&J, so we will be in year 2. And the increase that we're proposing will take us up to $219,294 that it will cost us for sanitation and recycling. And then we're still down because, $219,000 is what we will be paying for it. The revenue that we will bring in from sanitation.
194.40.
Do you have it? Thank you.
194.
So as you see, we're still at a loss, so we're just increasing it a little bit to help recoup some of what we're losing.
And that 194.040 is at the new rate of 35, which is $5 increase per quarter from last budget.
Thank you. Park equipment, I included $7,000 because the projects that Paul had submitted and got approved, the pickleball courts, if you guys remember. The park board didn't want to do that, so I had applied for a revision to our award to be able to use it to resurface both basketball courts and then get some amenities like benches and new hoops and stuff. If that gets approved, we're gonna have approximately $7,000 required as a 10% match. So that total includes that in addition to other park equipment Greg identified we need. All of these, park board initiatives, the old time Christmas concerts, those are all hotel motel tax expense. I added, so what I had done prior to the last budget was started working us towards what will be the goal of using the connection fees for water and sewer. Eventually, when we get the water and sewer funds to stand on their own, we would like for all of the connection fees to go straight into CIP reserves, so that those fees are not something we're depending on just to make the budget balance. It will be for whatever projects are needed. Marilee had suggested that I add a contingency fund back in, because I had taken it out to do the CIP, and then she said, you know, for various reasons, it would be good to have a little bit of cushion in the contingency. So for each of the 3 funds, I put $10,000 in contingency. That $10,000 came out of the CIP reserve total. So to balance everything out, our CIP reserves for the general fund is at $65,662. Okay, so that's everything for the general fund. Now I'll move on to the water, and then maybe we can have comments after if that works for you guys. So,
Are we gonna keep the dump truck and get another one? Is that what it's
we'll
gonna be?
sell it, right?
Yeah, you should sell, I'd sell it outright.
Okay.
You were estimating we could probably get like
25 to 30
$25,000
for it.
for it.
Oh, that'd be
It
good.
looks beautiful because it sits inside, it's just falling apart underneath. We can change the brake lines on it, the whole underneath the bottom
And
rusted up.
So they can't depend on it because it has all kinds of stuff wrong with it, and it takes a lot of their time to constantly be fixing it.
Well,
It's an 08, it's 2008.
yeah, you've had it for quite a while.
We have it, we can't use it for anything. You guys can't throw brush up over it, it's too big, it's too
Yeah.
tall. So anything we use it for is water leaks and salt, that's it. It has 15,000 miles on it, and it's a 2008.
Wow.
So it's just like a lawnmower sitting, taking up garage space.
Wait, you said
That's the salt.
rough it away from underneath?
So,
Solid.
we can decide that when you buy the new one, but I guess maybe we can get it undercoat, you know what I mean, the protection or something to help, so we don't have the.
So the new ones are all
problem with the
aluminum.
new one. Okay, gotcha.
So we have one down there now, it's all aluminum.
Just to let you all know about the concert series, there's gonna be 20 concerts down there this summer.
But
Yeah,
Sandy told me the total and excuse me, the estimated total, and it was still within what I had already put in the budget, so that didn't change.
Yeah.
The, connection fees, so I have in the note here, the estimate that Drew had given, and then I whittled that down to what I thought was actually gonna happen. Because I don't think Battlefield Estates is actually gonna happen. And I don't think we'll actually have 6 commercial. So the connection fee total that you see in here is for Dean South, which is 20, and then 3 commercial.
And then also on the connection fee, it's still at the 10,550. The
Yes.
BMUC met and they did not budge on wanting to increase it for whatever reason. I think it was the wrong move, but we'll honor their decision and keep it at 10,550.
Let's see here.
None of the Dean South waters were already paid.
They paid some of them, this would be the rest of
So
them.
this, okay, I just didn't want to double count. That's what
Nope,
was weird.
I think it's 48 total, does that sound right? And they already, 46 total, 56, so they already
Anything
paid.
that was
Okay.
prepaid was sewer, not water.
So that would be
I'm sure that's.
Dean
true.
North,
Sewer, not water.
sounds like that would be Dean North and South.
we had that conversation going around for a long time that there were prepaid water taps. That we kept counting. All the prepaid are all sewer taps.
You're right, he is right.
So they need to pay all their water taxes. So
And that gives you some money.
So I wonder why Drew didn't put that in.
I can assure you that we had this conversation numerous times. And the last go round was that we kept saying they were prepaid water, they were not.
You're correct, I stand corrected.
No, I'm not, yeah,
You're right, good
yeah.
catch, good catch.
I just want to make sure that we say it the right way.
Now, were they eligible for a lesser rate based on their?
No.
Okay, I didn't know what their agreement said. Okay, well, again, there was agreements a long time ago. I didn't know if it had prices.
I mean, but still, 20
That's fine now.
for Dean South in 1 year.
I'm thinking maybe Drew didn't, I will double check, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe he figures that we'll have the sewer ones before the end of this fiscal year. Because I mean, they're already,
Yeah,
they're
I
trucking
understand.
along.
Yeah, I
So in the next 3 months, there's a very good chance that they'll be ready to pay their sewer. But I'll check on that.
Maybe what you were thinking about too, Rachel, was on our EDU tracking sheet, we have some reserve for them.
Yeah,
but
they're
not
reserved, they're not paid.
Yeah.
On the EDU tracker sheet. Yeah, they're just reserved, not paid.
Yeah, they should have all that, their lines and stuff hooked up there for summer, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
They're moving right along.
Excuse me. Audit fees, I had to increase, now this is split among all three funds as well. I had to include in there, the amount that we'll pay for single audit. So
Right.
audit fees are higher than they were in the past years. All of the equipment totals and supplies, Greg and Pete told me what they were gonna need. So I'm hoping that we have plenty in these because I took the numbers that we've used in the past and then I increased them based on what the guys said that they were gonna need. So again, the CIP reserves and, the contingency fund is at 10,000. Special project funding, that is, a $10,000 water fund subsidy for the Crestview bypass project. So I put that in, we had an FY25 subsidy for Crestview. And because we have such limited funding for Crestview, I put another 10,000 in for FY26 to subsidize it.
So when I was looking at this, what I thought we probably should maybe want to do is I showed 131,581 on special projects funding. And then I put the 242,650 in for the CIP reserve because that money is coming directly from the tap fees. Correct? And we're not.
In a perfect world, it would,
Well-
but in reality, the water fund has.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. So I changed those numbers around. I put 131,581 in funding and I put 242,650 in the CIP because that money should come right from the tap fees and go right into the water fund user fee account. Over on your special projects page, I put the 10,000 that you put in there and 207,021 would be what was left. And the rest of it's just gonna need to come out of the user fund water fee. That's where it should come from for capital projects. I'm just talking out
The
loud.
rest of the rest of all these capital projects we have, you're saying should come out of the water fund?
Moving forward, that's the way we wanna go.
Okay.
Is that not the way it's supposed to set up? Is it the tap fees are to be collected for capital projects
And that's
respectfully for each fund? And I'm just saying, if we can start moving in that direction, I think we'd be better off than saying that we keep moving that money that we're collecting for tap fees and just moving those numbers. We need to take it right out and put it in the user fund account. And basically, when Brian receives those funds, they should go right into the user fund account for either water or sewer. They shouldn't be left in either one of these two funds. So if we start working in that direction, I think we'll be in a better place. We can talk about that more later, but that's how I worked my sheet over.
Okay.
So, and I did the same thing on the sewer fund. We're not there yet.
Okay.
So I'll think about that some more.
Yeah.
Because as we get to where we want to go, then on our fourth fund, we'll be funding those projects.
From the
eventually out of
user
the
fee
user
accounts, that's correct, for
So-
water or sewer, depending on the project.
So we may or may not even want to show those in the budget going forward.
But we have to show it
You
somewhere.
want to show.
Yeah,
them
you have to
let
show the
people know
income,
where this is
then you have to show
coming
where it's gonna go, and it should go right over into those accounts
Well,
and not be.
that's interesting.
So, but anyway, I'll show you the numbers I worked and it works, but
We'll think on that some more.
yeah,
Okay. So.
you were there with the capital improvements, and I just changed numbers around.
Okay. Are you done with the water fund then?
Yeah.
For right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Ricky, how is that? Can you see that okay?
One more notch, please.
Bless you.
Thank you.
There you go, I guess. Yeah, yeah, look, I can see it if I'm doing this.
Oh, I can make it a little better. The connection fees, so the same thing, the same projects as for the water fund. I don't know why my notes, they're still not showing.
They're showing on mine.
They were shown before, anyway, it's the same projects for the sewer, so 20 for Dean South and 3, commercial ones.
Yeah.
Or commercial connections.
But now, that number might change, depending on the prepaid sewer taps.
Yeah.
Might, yeah, I will check with Drew. Because the connections I got from him.
Right, so he didn't have any of the prepaid numbers mixed in there.
So you're saying you may be double counting some of those.
Yeah, we might be looking to collect money on taps that are already paid. I don't know how many they have prepaid. I forget. Let me look at the EDU sheet while you're
Yeah, I
pulling
think,
that up.
you got me a new one, that sheet, I think.
I don't see any of the notes.
Isn't there like a setting at the top of the Excel sheet to say show notes?
I'm clicking to,
I'll tell you in a second.
and I also clicked edit, so that maybe it would just let me bring it up. I don't know what that, what is this? What is this crap? There it is.
There you go.
Well, it shouldn't be going all the way up there. Anyway, all that and it didn't matter. Equipment expense. So these should just be broken down further from the projects that are capital expenses I already talked about, that
Says not
the
paid.
repairs and stuff that are split between all 3 funds.
Not to interrupt you, Rachel, but while you're moving around there, chemicals for wastewater treatment plant, is that a number that I hope Pete gave you from the updated what it is for the loop press that was kind of high?
Yes, well, from Jesse actually, but since he's the one that orders it.
That stuff's not cheap.
This is another place where I tried to really fluff it because he's really narrowing it down, but he's still experimenting a little bit, so it's still not, next year we should be able to have a very confident number, but this year it's still a bit of a guess, so I'm thinking that that's much bigger than it's gonna be, but just in case.
I want to ask because Kathy Bessler keeps asking, well, how much are we saving with the loop press? And it's like, well, right now.
It's too hard to, I mean, I can tell you how much we're saving at least that amount, but, I mean, off the top of my head, but I could get you that number. I just can't tell you for sure how much we are saving. Next year I should be able to.
I just keep pushing it off, telling them the same thing.
We also just fully finished it this year.
Yeah. Is she pro press or?
Okay, and then the general fund loan payment, that's on our, agenda for later in the meeting, but that is a reminder for the the past where, the general fund had tried to support the sewer fund with, I forget, if my note was working, see how much money it was, but
1.8 million.
that is towards
That's recent.
repaying that.
Huh?
I think that's the recent numbers.
Well, I believe that's an accurate number, out of everything that's happened since I've been involved. I think,
Oh, well, the general fund paid sewer fund loan payments for years that wasn't ever released.
okay, if they weren't
So, yeah,
recorded,
so
okay,
it's recorded.
okay, if they were
Yeah,
unrecorded, then this,
yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't have it. What I have recorded is
Yeah,
1.8.
exactly.
Okay.
It's been going on for a good while.
So the special project funding in the sewer fund is, I applied for ARC funding to work on our inflow and infiltration. And that grant requires a 50% match. So that's what that $250,000 would be. If we don't get the grant, we won't use it.
Okay.
Unless we wanna do just like a very minimum, I'm not sure how far that would get us with the project, but potentially could. Okay, so that's all of those. Now, the special project funding. Okay, so I listed all of the grant funding that we have so far for these projects. And, just all the funding that we have in general, so that includes water user fees and, bond funding that Roger had gotten us, commissioner funding. So, all of the revenue comes to $9,426,000. Excuse me, thousand.
She's choking on that number.
So the expenses, for each one, per Tony's request, I put in a 10% contingency amount for each one. So the total expenses you're seeing reflects how much we know to be for some of the projects, or we had estimated, don't have exact quotes yet, for each of these projects, plus 10% contingency. So our total expenses are 500,000 more than our revenue. But if you add in the CIP reserves that I have broken down, so what I did for each fund was whatever was in the CIP reserves, I put all of that directly into our special projects for contingency coverage, which means that if everything goes according to what we're estimating, we'll have a surplus of $18,000 for these projects.
Okay, you must have a different version than mine. Mine's like $180,000 deficit. And I might not got the last revision.
Mine's at 71.
So, yeah, that was a surplus. 'Cause it's bad. But that was before she added the 10% contingency, so she added.
There was, Marilee had found a formula error where I was missing 44,000. So that's been since the one I sent out on Friday before.
Okay.
So that was how I had handled using the CIP reserves. I just put it all straight into our projects.
And it's down here as the contingency.
Yes, it's a separate line there because I did a formula to pool all of
Yeah,
them.
mine has $677,008 in that line. So,
For contingency,
that's okay. I'll get the updated version. Don't worry about it.
okay.
So with that all being said, Rachel, I understand what you did. Two points there. A moment ago, when we were on sewer, you were talking about the potential grant for I&I.
Yes.
You didn't want to show that on that.
I didn't want to because it's still so up in the air. I only put the ones we're actually doing. We're actually doing Crestview, Chase 6, and the reservoir. I didn't want to put anything that we're not sure about.
So if we become sure about it, just for completeness, we all put it on that sheet.
I will, but we won't know if we get that funding until a year,
Okay.
until I think February of next year, we'll know we got it, and then we won't get the funding until May. So we'll be doing next year's budget,
So,
and working it in.
so does that mean maybe we don't really need the 250K on the sewer budget?
I think that we should plan for it because, first of all, I had to sign a letter saying that this is actually committed, it is budgeted, and we have it ready.
Well, that's good.
So I think to keep my word, I can do that.
Okay, so point number 2,
And sorry, one more thing about that. Also, if we would get it, since it's a match, we would need to put our money forward first. So say we get the money in May, we would need to spend our money before we could use the grant funding.
okay,
So we could recognize that in the next year's budget.
Next year's budget.
Yes.
but it's not reimbursable, so we don't have to spend 500 to get 250K back.
No, we would, let me think a second. At the very,
Getting ahead of myself.
at the most for ARC, I think for that one, we pay the bill and then we submit the receipt, the invoice, the canceled check, and we show, okay, this invoice was for 100,000, we're only getting reimbursement for 50,000 because we already paid our share.
So we only have to show you 250 there.
Yes, whatever we requested, which I requested 250,000.
Cool, thanks for educating me. Point number 2, Greg's vacuum truck. I thought we were discussing putting that on this sheet also, but we didn't.
I thought we were talking about potentially buying that this year since if, depending how it goes on the agenda, in
This year
about
in
an
20
hour,
This year in 25.
yes, because
Okay.
we have put in, or you guys have budgeted 350,000 as a general fund repayment.
That's right, there comes.
That's the thing.
Oh,
I thought we were talking,
That's what they're talking
I thought we were talking about doing that this fiscal
You're
year.
right, I even have that 525 on the piece of paper.
That is correct.
It does.
Alright, so, we have 30 minutes. What questions, concerns, comments do you have?
The only thing that I mean, everybody's comments kind of talking that whole thing that I've been talking about.
They're good.
The only thing I was going to point out, as you already mentioned, we're using these connection fees to basically balance the budget for water and sewer. That's why we keep talking about the 7-year plan and all that stuff, and I think we're all in agreement. We're all feeling that we're in a good path going forward, and I just wanted to state that.
She kind of has the connection fees going into capital projects, so we've kind of been not using it
Pretty
to
much, but they're
balance,
not exactly perfectly aligned.
Right, but it's pretty close, I mean, it's a lot better,
And I-
you know, because we just don't do the special project or the capital improvement, if we don't get the grant money or the
Right.
connection fees.
And
Push it another year.
after we went through the special projects page,
Yeah,
what you had makes more sense.
Yeah.
Might still just want to relabel some things just so that we can be focused on doing it that way. Whatever we collect in fees for connection fees should go straight down to that number.
That is what I want it to be, yes.
But we can do it on this one too. We can make it start this way. That's, you know, what we do with it over in the fourth fund doesn't matter, is my point right now.
Okay,
But that way we can start this cycle year with it being that way. Couple things on the general fund. I'm not sold on an admin assistant. We can still hash that out. Public works, part-time, I'm good with. I still think that, we need to look at the town farm rental agreement. I'm not sure how many years it's been since there was an increase. We need to.
well, we just gave them a long-term lease,
Yes, but
so I
we-
think.
Yeah, we just did that
we
last
kinda
year.
did that,
We
so.
said that we would give them a long-term.
They're
more.
I didn't say, at least in my comments, I never said that we were gonna stay at the same fee. If that's what you want, that's fine, I'm just saying.
I think at least for the rest of this year.
Well, it-
Maybe next year.
Program doesn't rent for a lot.
No,
Let's put it
I'm
that
just, it's just a thought.
Well, it rents for more than they're paying, really.
It's just a thought, that's all. It's just a thought. We haven't done anything with it, so, on street maintenance, I had a resident take me down to their house on Greystone, Greg. I know what you have in the plan was winter.
Winter and,
Anything on Greystone, was
Yeah.
it?
that's part of Greystone, yeah.
Okay, because the intersection of Winter and Greystone definitely needs work.
Yep.
You know, where that, whatever, the runoff, that runoff that comes from the left side to the right side, so to speak, going towards Welling.
Where me and you went with that guy, with that gentleman. Remember we walked up the
No, not up at Greg's house. I'm over on Greystone Drive,
Oh, okay.
where Greystone comes out and it goes over towards Welling.
Yeah.
Right there on that turn.
Yeah, where we
They're
just did
starting
our,
to break away down, right down in there. So that needs to be looked at. And then,
Well, that's gonna always keep on, no matter what, how many, often you repair it, until the farmer stops running that real heavy equipment across it, it's still gonna completely break up on Craig.
that is, I do have that in with this year though.
I understand them going down in winter, but not right around that bend off of Greystone. That's where it's
The
breaking
ones that
away.
you gave me. Okay.
That's where it's breaking away. And then the other part of that is that when you go on down to the end of winter, where you all go back to well 8, it's starting to fall away there, where I guess there's a drain that runs under.
There is.
Okay, I think there's a small section that you have blacktop, and then it goes on to stone.
Yes.
I don't know if you just want to think about maybe just trying to
Paving it back to the, well, wait,
make a clean break.
I'll look at it for you and I'll go back tomorrow, check it out.
Okay. That's what I have on general fund.
Okay. You just wanna keep talking and go to whatever?
Yeah, so water fund, I talked about the connection fees, there's not gonna be an increase. And we talked about the CIP reserves equaling what we actually take in fees. I'd like to just try to work on that. And then the sewer fund, the only 2 points I have on that are, loan repayment. I'd like to try to just get away from it. What the sewer fund, yeah. And then just make the connection fees equal what we're taking in for fees.
Well, I'm confused because on the water fund, she has a connection fees of 242,650 and her CIP reserves are 360 plus. So she's more than putting what we took in as connection.
But it should be equal. It should be
Yeah,
more
the
than.
version I looked at, you add up all 3 funds, they were what was in this fund.
Okay.
But I mean, if the budget balances and we have funds to do capital projects, where else are you gonna spend it, I guess is my question.
So it would just go on the line for, oh, my screen's so dark. It would just go on the line, Mary Lee, for special projects funding instead of,
Yeah, but without noting what your special project is, I would kind of have a problem putting $100,000 just to not, like, say what we use it for, if that makes any sense.
So you're okay with the way that I did it?
Yeah.
With CIP reserves?
Yeah,
directly
Plus,
to
I feel like
project?
part of the reason why we got some extras because we have the interest income in there that's gonna be decreasing as we spend our,
For sure.
you know what I mean, ARPA funds and our grant money.
I agree with Mary Lee, because if you just put it underneath special fund, somebody's gonna say, well,
What's your special fund? And that's a lot of money to not be,
This way
So
it's
if it's
category.
broken down and.
yeah, this way she's got what it is and then we have it outlined in our special projects.
Well, there's a couple different ways of looking at this. The way
It's just the way it's worded, that's the only
I
thing.
always like the idea of just simply declaring reserves as an expense. But it's unspent at the end of the year and it just carries over. That's another possibility. I mean, there's just several ways done this.
But I mean, this,
So in other words, Mary Lee, you don't have to show exactly what you're spending it for. We're just not gonna spend it.
correct, but it's, you owe your taxpayers an explanation of why you're taxing them. Because if you're just not spending it, then to me, that would say I'm being overtaxed.
Well, and I
You
hear
know what I
your
mean?
point.
So I feel like her saying it's for CIP for capital improvements because we know you can't fund the project fully maybe with
I
on
hear your
8 years, you know.
And I agree with you, but also it's appropriate to have 10% in reserve of the fiscal year budget, and you never do. So if we just have a line item for reserves, that was an expense, but we just don't spend it, the budget balances, and we have money in the bank at the end of the year. So there's two ways of looking at it.
And I understand what you're saying and how that can be perceived by residents. However, if we have a whole list of projects.
Yeah, so I think you have it showing what we're gonna fund.
We have a whole list of things we
That
need to
can't
do,
be
so if
funded.
we end up having a little bit left over at the end of the year, it's gonna be spent the next year, maybe it wasn't enough to get the project off the ground, and we needed for seed money next fiscal year, but we can easily demonstrate that this is where your tax dollars are gonna go, I mean, heck, we can even prioritize it and show this is the first project they're gonna go towards, it might take us 3 years to get the money for it, but that's where it's going. So, I feel confident that we can.
Well, yeah, and I feel like that's where you have it explained, because you have the projects listed and the money you have in CIP resources going there to show where it's getting.
I think we both have fair points, Mary Lee, honestly.
Yeah.
I just find it a little surprising that the auditor hasn't dinged us, honestly, on having reserves, but nonetheless, I'll rest my case on that.
Well, I don't guess it. An audit just, I think, just make sure that we've spent our money as we designated. I don't think they rule on whether, you know, what I mean, they approve of how we done it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 24 minutes, what other?
Okay, well, my one little concern is, and I just wanna ask, because doing the fishing derby for my first year, like, I'm planning 250 kids. I feel like we won't quite reach that, but I don't wanna not have, you know what I mean? And like Chris left me with only like 15 $5 gift cards, so I mean, right there I'm at $1,175, my budget's $1,000. But now I know I get donations, but the way the budget thing works, which again, if I'm private industry, you know, my donations would go against my expenses and I'm showing, okay, I don't know whether, you know, that's gonna be a problem or, you know, I mean, because the donations go into the miscellaneous income under revenue, it doesn't say fishing derby revenue. And then our expenses are more, just as long as everybody's okay with that.
Well, I can increase, I mean, now's the time.
But I don't know if, like, you know, as long as we're not out of whack, if Jason dings.
So I
things like
believe
that.
that Brian has made in the software lines for
Yes, he
each
has.
incomes for donations and
Yeah,
different things like
the
that.
letters out, yeah. Yeah, all I'm saying is.
Yeah, I understand. You
know
don't
what
want
I'm
it to
saying?
get
like, yeah, like to me, it's kind of, it doesn't show that, and I just don't want us to be, I just don't want to get somebody yelling at me my first year I did it, because we're definitely not, we're gonna go, expenses will be more than $1,000. But, okay, I'll have donations.
So I can increase the fishing derby, what do you want to increase to? I have it at $850.
Yeah, I know, you decreased me from 1,000.
Good job, Rachel.
I increased it from the last meeting.
Well, from the last meeting, but from the prior budget.
You mean from last year?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the last several years.
That probably, because we weren't using that much.
Or they didn't report it well enough that,
In 2024, we only spent $514, in 23, $555.
Right, but also last year's 2024 was when we had the
No,
really miserable weather.
Okay.
You know,
A lot
We
of
didn't have that
A
many.
lot of
we
this
didn't
stuff
have
is
very
there.
many kids. That was our least one in the past 8 years that I've been
Like,
on.
we've never spent 1,000, 792, 716. I'm happy to increase it, I'm just saying I wasn't taking
See,
money.
well, I'm
away
just,
from you.
okay, well, I'm just saying, I just was, you know what I mean, like I said, I don't wanna not have gift cards for doing it. But I would assume if I buy enough for 250 kids this year, that I'm gonna have some left, like I only have 15 that she gave me from the prior, if that makes sense.
That wouldn't be
And
the
then-
first time we've had gift certificates left over.
No, normally we have some left, I guess we just didn't start out or.
Yeah, what she done too is she gets a variety.
Correct, and I'm just gonna do that too, I mean, like, I have emailed Chick-fil-A, seeing if they'll donate any, but I know Chris went and bought them.
I just figured just ice cream. You gotta just go get nutters or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so 1,000?
So the creamery might take offense to that.
No, they gave us.
Well,
they gave
Potomac
us two.
Creamery gives me some,
Yeah,
or,
okay.
well, we buy them, I don't know whether she gives me or not, I haven't
And the
talked to her.
Derby's open to
Nutters,
anybody. It
we
doesn't
buy
have-
them.
so you might get Sharpsburg kids coming. that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know Sharpsburg has.
Yeah, I
their-
mean,
their
in the
donuts.
past, we've had Stoneworks, we've had Nutters, we have Potomac Creamery, we have, Chick-fil-A, we've had McDonald's. And I think we even have Walmart.
I just do one of them usually just gives you
We,
No, she has bought them from what all my notes have seen.
The reason why I said you're talking about Nutters is you tell the kids what you have, and they all take Nutters first. We always run out of Nutters before we do anybody else.
Well, one of the things we think we're gonna do different this year is kind of put them in a jar and they're gonna draw.
I don't want to be hungry for like, we have 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
we need cheese.
So my only concern is I'm with Tony about the new hiring. Like, I wanna make sure we have job descriptions and hours filled, because I have a hard time telling people that. And then I'm also, I saw we got a small update from the lobbyist, but I'm just kind of not happy with that.
Well, to those points,
Yeah.
I forgot that I had highlighted those from last time.
Yeah.
So for the accounting services, Brian's the one who deals with them.
Yeah,
Brian's
because
happy
it's
with them,
yeah.
so I think that we leave that.
But now do we need to up it, because we had spent $94.50 already this year? You know what I mean, by that March, we spent $9,450 out of 10.
But
And I would
between
think that-
January and March, we haven't spent any. So-
Gotcha, yeah, most of the questions come when we're getting ready for the audit, which I guess would be July, so we're rolling to next year, but.
So, and that's how it was when I
Okay.
pulled up the amounts. It was a
Okay.
huge invoice, smaller, and then it was like,
I mean, if he's comfortable that he's not gonna need more help, especially with this other audit. I'm just
well,
wondering.
we
if
had to
that'll-
go through that essentially this year. It's
The
just,
second audit,
we had to, the single audit, we had to give them all the information so they could
Okay.
submit it and evaluate, and then we
Okay.
just didn't.
I
do
didn't,
the
I
full
shouldn't say, I'm
one.
just trying to anticipate if we're gonna have extra questions with, a second audit.
The circuit rider, it was
Yeah, so-
12,000
yeah,
for
you
the
cut that,
for the contract. I reduced that because Catherine has,
So she's not gonna be.
well, she's not gonna be with MRDC anymore. We did get a notification that, we could apply for it again. I don't think we need a full-on circuit rider because since I started, I have basically been doing the grants. But there are a couple of things that Catherine does for us, like she handles everything with the facade grant. She lets us, well, the grants that she's already helped us with, she is still like a go-between for those, and
Okay.
some of those will still be out
So
there
we need to
for
have, yeah.
up to 5 more years.
Okay.
So those kinds of things she can do with her personal business.
Okay.
So I just put in 3,000 to see if we could keep her on, just to help with those as needed things. But I don't think we need the full 12.
I'm good with that, I was happy with that.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Maybe jumping ahead a little bit. Part-time public works guy. I know there's been some mention about it being like seasonal or whatever. And I think that you're gonna have a harder time finding someone for like 4 months,
As opposed to part-time full all
instead
year.
of, yeah. And I'm sure Greg can find someone to work, like things for someone to do for the entire year. I mean, that was just my
Cut
thought.
it back instead of adding to it, which is one of our, I mean, I'm just, the whole kind of thing right now is cutting government, and
Oh, yeah.
you're hiring 2 new positions, I just kind of.
But we're not federal employees. We
Yeah,
can get
right.
a lot of things we do in a week's
Oh,
time. I
And
guarantee.
And we're growing too.
So if I can jump in on that,
I'll give you 10.
I revised the public works part-time person. I made it, instead of 9 months, 32 hours a week, I cut it back to 30 hours a week for only 6 months. And those 6 months from April to September are when Greg mostly needs someone. And I completely get what you're saying. This isn't even posted yet. I've just told my husband about it and already have a high school student who's very interested. So the requirement is an 18-year-old, right?
Yes.
So if you get a high school student, especially if they're a senior and they only go to school half a day or only have a couple classes, They can come in and work after that. If there's stuff that needs to be done, like painting that you don't have to supervise, they can do it on Saturday. So,
But you're also grooming a potential full-time employee. I
Because the
mean,
problem is you
Well,
completely take me out of the equation because I can't help them guys during the summer. I'm sorry. We got rid of our engineer, so I took on all that responsibility, doing all the inspections. Then we got all this MS4 stuff stuck on us.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't hire anybody. Who do you think does that?
That's why I'm asking, I just want to make sure.
So I'm just
we
letting you
have
know
a
that I can't go
justification.
down there and physically help them guys anymore. So you got 4. And then one of my guys is almost a full-time mechanic. And that is not what he was hired for. But none of our stuff's going out to Ford or EBs or anything like that anymore. Most of our stuff is being done in-house if it's not electronic. So we're just short-handed. If it comes down to Ricky Weaver giving me a list to do at the park or maintenance of a fire hydrant, I'm putting his list to the side. I'm doing the fire hydrant. I'm doing the water stuff first. And that's what's been happening the last 2 years. I know everybody says our park's beautiful. There's a lot of maintenance down there.
It is.
So my guys have been down there the whole month of March. I don't know if you guys have seen them. And that after, as soon as it gets warm out, they'll get down there and they'll mow one day a week, and there's no maintenance that gets done really at all. I mean, they clean the bathrooms, they scrub them, make sure they're pretty, but there's no painting, nothing gets done. It hasn't been for the last 2 years.
When's the last time we actually hired an extra?
We have always had a part-time parks employee, but they're like the recession hit, and we got rid of them. We never hired them back. We started out with Blair Jones, then we went to Logan Garrett.
I for one
I
would
kind
rather
of
have
agree
a
with Kim, I
full-time.
think it should be year
I want
round.
full-time for.
I'll take whatever you can give me. If you give me that, I'll be happy. That's better than nothing.
if we would go full-time, I would say to make them non-benefited.
I don't think we can do that, you can't have some benefit.
Pay their salary.
Not, it's not.
I'd like to bring it up as far as we could without going into benefits, because then that's just a whole.
Well, again, you got 48 grand for a lobbyist, I would rather have a public works employee, again, but now,
Exactly.
again, once
I
you get,
agree
once
there.
you get full-time, you've got benefits and a vehicle, you know what I mean, so it becomes,
So it was originally 9 months out of the year, which the park is not open that entire time, but all 9 months it
April to
was.
November. They extended it to
Well, to the
November.
end of Halloween, you know,
Alright,
we do.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So if
Then it's gotta get winter.
there are things that even when they don't have to be mowing maybe every single week, that's when they can catch up on all the maintenance and stuff that the park board identifies.
Again, I guess one of my things would be, I don't think we should hire someone that's strictly just parks, like, they need to be able to encompass what's needed, like, if they have to go help on a water leak, that's what.
Greg can do
You know what I mean, like, I don't
That's
think we
what
should
Greg-
have a job description
But
restricted.
that's where
So-
Greg would come in, he would take care of that,
So
he
it
would
could
know.
either be in the job description that other duties as assigned, that could be throughout the park or throughout the town, or it could be up to this many hours, and if he doesn't have enough for them to do at the park, then we let him go early and save a little money. So there's ways that we can combat that, but he desperately needs something.
I would definitely keep them under 40, like you said, Tony, so you don't have to pay them benefits and no truck.
That's right.
For now, if it comes to where we need them, then you,
There's gonna come a time,
Yep.
I think that, we're closer to that than not, but
Yeah, we're getting
for
very
this year,
close to that.
I'd
Look
like
at
to
our
keep it, yeah.
now walking trail now that needs to be maintained.
I know.
It's low over a mile.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys might be coming around to the idea of the groundskeeper that I would not be pushing for if we did not really need. What are you willing to give them? I have it 30 hours a week for 6 months, which was like basically the bare minimum.
As much as we can get.
Well, I kind of like Kim's idea, we could still use him even when the park is not available. You know, when the park's out for the
Do you
season,
want to increase it to 9 months, like
Oh.
it was?
year round.
Year round, just limit the hours.
So like 20 hours a week year round?
Well, 30 hours a week
Right.
till this.
What do you want?
I would say just keep it under the 40 if you guys don't want to do full time, just so you don't.
Well, it's probably over 30 or 32 is considered full-time in Maryland, isn't it?
I think it's over 32.
Now, I could use I could use 2 more full-time guys
Well,
or
that's what
something.
I'm saying.
But I'll take
Obvious to
whatever you
give them
give.
full-time or-
Well, I don't think it's enough, that's what I'm saying.
So the problem is the public works guys do water and sewer, and a lot of places don't do that. So during the summer, like 75 to 100% of our time is taken up by doing water valves and water meters and hydrants. It just kills us. Like this whole building needs painted. I don't know how we'd ever do it.
Yeah, eventually we're
Well,
gonna need
again,
full-time.
sometimes some of that needs to be subbed to somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like painting the building doesn't necessarily have to be our guys.
I mean, you know what I mean? If it becomes a strain and a problem, the same as, I mean, I love that you do all the mechanic works and keep us going and do it all hours of the day and night, but if that's, you know what I mean, sometimes you have to weigh,
It saved us a fortune.
is it, you know what I
Saves
mean?
us a lot of
No,
money.
saving
Can I interject? I don't know if it's a community action council, I think I've told you about it before, but they do summer jobs. So go, get your year-round part-time person, but back it up with a high school student who's paid by the county.
Are you talking about the Western Maryland Consortium?
Yes, that's it.
Didn't you say we had them before?
My son.
Didn't go well?
My son was here.
No, it didn't go well in the office. It went fine out in the
Okay.
field.
Out in the field, but they're subsidizing that person and you're training them. You're giving them a skill and then maybe you're grooming them for a full-time job down the line because you're gonna have to replace people eventually. I just think that that's, for that part-time seasonal person, you should look at the consortium for that.
And consider the inmates. Don't forget, you guys, I get 5 inmates once or twice a week during the summer. If I lost them guys, if we
I know.
lost them guys, we'd be in some serious trouble.
Well, maybe it can be as the probationary, you know, hire to start so that we can make sure we're using it, it's still, it
Contractual.
works. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that there's gonna be a probation period and if it, you know, it's fine and we make it full-time or, you know, move it up, because that'll give us some time to decide in our budget where we are.
But
And
I
not
think you need to
just
increase
start
it
out.
to about 21 grand. There's no way that you're gonna make it for what we're talking about at 10,000.
What's that say, 12.2?
I mean, that's about 20 hours a week at $20 an hour.
It was $17.
I know what you had in there, I just rounded, but I'm just saying, it's gonna be more closer to 21,000 if you do it.
Okay, so 12 months at 32 hours a week.
I'd stay under 32.
I'd say 30.
30 hours a week.
30.
I'd say
30.
30. That way they don't get
Because
the
if you go
truck
over that, you're gonna be looking at benefits.
Well, what if you think like 24 hours a week, then 3 days a week? You know what I mean? That helps when you got somebody off, you gotta, you know what I mean? You can make sure you have that person scheduled.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, 3 days is
Ray
I'm
can,
just trying
Ray
to,
can
you
do
know.
whatever he wants. I mean,
Right.
some days he might only working 4 hours and then, another day.
Right, and like, but you're also, to get a quality worker, you have to have some kind of stability in their life where it doesn't, you
But
know.
I'd say the first
um,
3 to 4
so-
months, he's gonna be working a regular schedule so that he can get acclimated to what we're doing and what he needs to do, right, Greg? I mean,
Yes.
And once you get past that, then it can be, okay, this is a project you're gonna work on painting here, or, whatever. But I think we just need to think about more money, full-time, part-time. How's that?
Okay. All right, we have 8 minutes. We have got to get this to the point where you guys are almost completely comfortable with it so that in April, we can do the public hearing and put the ordinance and put it in paper, like we're getting run out of time now.
Okay.
So what other questions do you guys have? Concerns?
I think all my questions were answered, I think. We need to make a decision as a group, whether we're gonna bring, our lobbyists back next year, because that's 48 grand.
Want to vote?
I'm not saying it has to be a vote right now, but I'm just saying it's something.
Well, it's gonna help her out.
So it would, so I would recommend, no, you make, I'm sorry.
This is.
You make the decision now, and then when he submits his contract to be renewed,
Right.
then you would vote to not do that.
Right.
But you should have in your heads right now what you're gonna, because he's still, isn't his based on the fiscal year?
Yeah, he's at
Yes,
end of
yeah.
June. Yeah,
So,
June 30th
We
was
still have
contract.
him for a
Come on
while.
in.
And I know for a fact we can join the Tri-County Council, not Tri-County Council, the
Chamber. of
Chamber of Commerce, and that's only, it used to be $1,000, it might have gone up a little bit, I'm not sure what the cost is, but it's a heck of a lot, and they can fight for it.
Well, and I know, like,
I know,
there was a
Bruce-
time other municipalities were paying less money for lobbyists.
I know Paul Fry and Jim Kirchhoff wants to come down one of our workshops and talk to us about joining back up with them.
And, you know,
Like I just left.
maybe our contract with him could be for a lot less hours or a lot less money too. You know what I mean? I don't know where we get the money to have a part-time employee, you know, 2 people added without cutting somewhere.
Well, and to that point, I have never had a conversation with Mr. Moore. I know Larry does, I know Tony does. Each day, for me, is a lot of money. And I think these grant opportunities that he has got.
It's dried up.
Past are going to just
I
go
agree.
away.
I feel like it serves a short-term purpose.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, Marley. I think we filled a gap needed to fill
I think it
a
was
period of
beneficial
time.
to us. but,
So could you keep that person on as a consultant? I don't know.
That's what-
So do you want us to decide, I'll decide no, thank you, no. What do you want?
Yeah, I'm
She
not
needs to work
asking
with
for a vote, I just wanna know.
I say use that money towards the public works, you know, job that
I
they
think
need.
consensus is leaning towards not renewing, Rachel, if that helps you. And you can move those numbers around. At the very least, it would be a reduced fee and less hours from Roger, maybe, I don't know, we'll see.
No.
But that's fine.
Well,
He did help us get money for Chase
Oh, yeah,
and
Chase,
and
the rest
New
of it.
Reservoir
Yeah,
and some other
that's
things.
I think
This
dollar
year-
for dollar, what he got us and what we paid was well worth it.
When the state doesn't have the money to put it out for you, it's kind of hard to
We don't know.
blood out of the train.
Rachel sent you all that email that out of his ask, we're looking at 150 grand. And that's like, well, yeah, and that's not even, right, that's not even a yes or no, that's a maybe.
Yeah.
And that wasn't near what his ask was, it was over, what was it, 2 point some million?
It was 1.2 million just for one thing,
Right.
900,000, 700,000.
So it was over 2 million.
And Ray and Ricky, you all agree with that?
And you got
Yeah,
no
I agree.
Yes. Yeah. Make that change on that 48.
I already took it out.
Good.
All right, any other comments or questions?
We're leaving the other higher end then.
So you guys tell me to figure out.
That's right. Well,
Would you feel better if we had another meeting next week, even just for like a half hour or something? I mean,
I would not, thank you for the offer. I want us to be pretty close to where we are. If you have one more decision to make during like department or.
Again,
public hearing,
if I can chirp in,
But thank you for the offer. I appreciate
I
that
don't
you're
see the
willing to-
need for an admin assistant.
What?
I don't see the need for an additional admin assistant,
Not yet.
not yet.
What would that person do?
They would primarily be helping with things that Drew does.
Oh, okay.
Things that fall to the wayside because we're focusing on the capital projects we get going on right now.
Well, just send us out the revised that we had talked about here tonight, please. And then we'll review and then go from there. Like you just said, Rachel, I mean, if there's only 1 or 2 questions come up, we can do that in the public hearing. Hash that out. What you think? I think we're pretty close.
Good job.
And you will put that then up on the website for people to be able to start to look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
For the, you know,
It doesn't have to be in a format where they can see the little notes, does it?
No.
Okay.
No.
no. I mean, I think at times we even did kind of a condensed PowerPoint presentation for a budget thing and all. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But no, they don't have to read it. You can always, you know, answer questions.
This your first budget?
Yes, it's a town budget, so. Town, yeah.
You did a good job,
Yes,
Rachel.
ma'am. Very good.
She did a great job.
I know it's 2 minutes.
He said you did,
We're gonna continue to go right on in with our guests. Tyler, the floor is yours, sir. Come up here.
Hello there.
I don't know if the
It's very nice and warm.
Or
Snack for you.
I'll hang out here for a while.
looking for
First
new
thing-
business in town, donations for our fishing.
Oh
levy.
my God.
Hey, you guys, you just probably know what budget
I guess, first of all, thank you for considering us, going with us for the town employee retirement plan. It's something we're more than capable of handling, and also, I think it'll be nice for town employees to be able to utilize our office, the physical location right here, or any other resources that they need, when it comes to financial planning or investments, things of that nature. I'm happy to take any questions. I did want to point out, nothing will change with the fees involved or investment options or anything like that. It's simply just change of advisor on the plan. So it just goes from being held at Wells Fargo with Bill Abels, who I know very well, I know my whole life, he's a great guy, to myself here at Edward Jones. The holding company is still Capital Group, American Funds. All of that stays the same. Third-party administrator still SEK, nothing changes there. So, yeah, I'm happy to take any questions, or I more or less wanted to come and see what questions there were.
So will you be giving us the fiduciary investment review then in
Yes.
September, the fall?
Yep.
They'll fill you in, do what we have been
Yep.
getting, and I guess that's all obligated to do.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm happy to do as well, like an employee presentation if you wanted at some point, or to bring in any other experts or resources as needed to.
I think that would be, I'm allowed to ask that, I think it would be nice if you did that, not just, I mean, I know you're saying nothing's changed, but I guarantee you a lot of people and staff don't even know
Right.
what we have and how it works, so that would be helpful if we can get that.
Yeah, that'd be very helpful.
And is there some kind of coordination with, like, I guess, Abel's employee and letting our, employees know they're no longer doing it, and a follow-up by Tyler's, that they're taking it over to reach out with questions? I'm just kind of wondering how the transition's
I
gonna
think
work.
maybe that's gonna be an in-house that
Okay.
we're gonna handle.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure, they're not going, oh my gosh,
Yeah. So and for anybody that's not aware, Wells Fargo has lost the ability to handle our retirement through capital funds. And Bill helped me to reach out to different people. And of course, when he mentioned Tyler, I was great to have that opportunity because I've been trying to get something in his hands because we couldn't do other investments with Tyler, unfortunately. So it was a win-win, I thought, for the town and for the employees. So, yeah, we'll do an in-house notification, Mary Lee,
Okay.
so that the employees know for sure that Wells Fargo, Bill Abels is no longer in charge or the advisor, and that Tyler has taken over.
Employees typically don't have a lot of interaction with Bill unless they're getting ready to leave. And then they reach out to them.
You know what I mean? I just didn't want,
Oh, yeah,
again,
but
somebody
I-
has anyone reached out to you recently?
But it'd be nice, if they all could meet Tyler and. have
Oh,
a
absolutely.
Face, because a lot of them didn't know
Absolutely.
who Bill was.
No,
But,
exactly.
If they got any questions or any concerns, going right across the street.
Right.
Stop in anytime.
Howard does an outstanding job as far as communication is concerned, with issues and times, and I'm one of them, with my kids, and he reaches out on a routine basis, keeps it warm, and I'm looking forward to having that kind of relationship with the boosters, educating.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm happy to come in, whether it's once a year or what have you, we have all sorts of presentations I can do, whatever you think is fitting. And also to your point, if you want to coordinate with me, after you sort of let folks know, and then I can reach out with a phone call, to each of them interviews.
And my only other question is, are you able to get the answer to the question we asked a couple times? Is this a employee participating plan or is it a closed plan?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Monday, I believe is.
Okay.
That's,
Well,
I believe it is.
okay, we
Yeah.
just wanted to make 100% certain. But then Tyler can certainly let any of the employees know that there's options they can invest on no matter.
Yes,
And I don't know if that was ever extended through the other advisor, I don't know, but I mean, retirement's coming for everybody,
Yeah.
whether they like it or not, and the sooner they plan, the better off they're all going to be. So anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah, I thought it was offered, but it never went through.
We'll get Rachel and Kim, get the whole of all of them, please, get a good day, or they're available and contact you, and let you know, we'll talk to all of them.
Okay.
Do a little name session or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
keep
because of
straightforward,
our schedule with the police department, they stagger. We're not that far back.
Yeah.
Good straight shooting guy, I mean, to follow up with him, said, I'd like the employees to have an option that they can shoot the money as their own as well. Other than
Right, I just don't know that it's allowed to.
Through the
like,
plan,
In the
right,
same
through the- yeah, through the
plan, they
plan.
have to have I think we asked that question.
We did, we did.
Pretty sure it wasn't allowed because of the way our system is set up. Like, I think it was a restriction by, you know, the law.
That's probably right. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions at the time?
It becomes too.
Welcome aboard.
too
Thank you,
way
sir.
too complicated.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time here to come.
You didn't have any lemon squares.
There are
I
lemon
did.
squares and
I
brownies.
did. I already have my dessert and my dinner and everything.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
You're a bunch of busy beavers. I appreciate your diligence and everything that you do here. So I'm representing the Boonesboro Appalachian Trail Committee today.
One of your mini.
Yeah, well, the Trail Committee is part of the EBC, so I am actually the chairperson and liaison for that group, and I would like to start by saying I am thrilled that we will be doing the stamp dedication for the Appalachian Trail Conservancy's 100th anniversary on April 25th at the South Mountain State Park. That is going to be an opportunity to grab a lot of media attention because the contact is coming from DC, not from Washington County. So hopefully we'll get more eyes on Boonesboro, and I'm very excited about that. But as part of our commitment to the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, we are supposed to do at least one event a year. And we started off with the National Trail Days, which is the first Saturday in June. And the first Saturday in June is just there's too much going on between graduations, reunions, the list goes on, weddings. And we were just trying to think of something that was a little bit different and something that we can build on. So we have talked to the park board and received their permission to move forward. And I'm here tonight to ask for your blessings. We'd like to host the Boonesboro Outdoor Festival. And this would be a festival that would be geared toward promoting outdoor activities within our community, hiking, biking, wellness, and it would be on October 18th. We'd like to involve, Troop in Sharpsburg will be participating and helping us with the event. We'd like to do a community camp out that night, and I realized that cruising for kids would be there that Sunday. I'm not sure how we can pull all of it off, but the idea is that how many parents have gone out and bought the tent and bought all the gear and it's sitting in the garage because they didn't want to venture out and have their kids throw a temper tantrum and say, let's go home. Well, let's do it at home. Let's, bring that camping gear to the park, show parents, show the kids how to set it up, and just have an event for our community and embracing the environment that we have here that lends itself to hiking and biking.
Are you referring to Shepherd Park?
Yes.
Okay.
What was that day?
When we.
Something up on there.
Yeah, I have to be talking this.
October 18th.
Yeah,
I wrote down.
yeah.
So we weren't gonna do the first Saturday in June?
We are,
We are doing it this year,
but
not in.
it's a small trail event that will be held Right now, we're planning to do Gatlin, and it'll be a trail maintenance program. So it's another part of our commitment is to support conservation and maintenance along the trail. So we'll meet that obligation by hosting that event. And we'll do that with the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. But this is a bigger event by bringing in outdoor, like river and trail, paddle and paddle. Organizations, there's one called, this is gonna come to me. There's a program that sponsors, I can't think of the name right now, but it's geared toward dealing with adolescents in depth and activity, outdoor activity and healing process for them, and just all the options that are available through outdoor experiences and health and wellness.
So the time I love the idea, but October 18th might be a little cold, or is that part of the experience?
It could be.
Have you seen the best time to camp? It's not too hot.
Let's vote.
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got their blessing.
You got their blessing.
Yeah, and I wanted to come here and make sure that I had yours.
So
Because there's
October
like-
the 18th, and then October the 19th is the Cruise for Kids Trunk or
Right,
Treat.
but we'd be out of there if we could do this. I wanted to talk to Greg, but, and get his input. And I've talked to the scouts. The scouts apparently do little campo handouts, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
The scouts do
This
the
might
handouts.
be just.
You would just have to communicate with Cruise for Kids because they actually set up that night before.
Okay,
Oh, do that?
okay. So
Yeah.
that part might not happen, but the rest of it can, and we can grow into the rest of it.
No, they set up.
Well, what about-
Too much stuff.
What about camping over in the new section?
Yeah.
Greg?
Not the trunk and treat.
Over there where
Kids,
the,
yeah.
Yeah,
What about
soccer
camping
field-
over like in the soccer fields,
Yeah.
football fields, because they don't use that area
oh,
at
that
all.
would be perfect.
They use that for parking, don't they?
So that would
I
be
think you
perfect.
still have a restroom there.
Right. Cool.
Right there.
Yeah, because they only use,
Appalachian Trail Committee sponsoring this? I mean, I'm dealing.
Where's the money gonna go?
they only use, yeah, exactly.
Usually
Yeah.
sponsors.
That could be better parking for you over there.
Right.
We're doing, not doing it up on the trail.
No, but I would assume that it comes under the EBC umbrella as part of the Boonesboro Town, Appalachian Trail Town.
So that's one thing we're doing for the trail, okay, that's our
Is that
contribution to the
budgeted?
trail, our activities.
No, we're gonna have to find sponsors for this event. It was not, this just came up. So I'm not expecting to get any funding from EDC.
So this would just be, what time would this be?
10 to 5, pretty much. Well, depending on how the rest of it
Oh,
flushes
that's,
out.
that's the,
If we do the community, that would be overnight. And the community, we wanted to do, just something that brings people together, campfires. I don't think we can do a fire in the park, but, at least storytelling and something that's just more community oriented. And we haven't really flushed everything out. We have workshops planned. We have a list of people to ask to sponsor the event. It's all coming together, but we didn't want to move forward without your blessing.
that would be excellent, because they are on the soccer field. That way, when they show, they do set stuff up the night before some of the pavilions. They
Yeah,
would
well,
be there.
we would probably use the pavilions during the day for the vendors, but we could use the other side for, we want to have a rock wall there. So it initially wanted to invite River and Trail, but the scouts are saying, we have a rock wall. And we'd like to have a presence and get people excited about other things that they can do in scouting, so.
Now, question on your other event, up in Washington, Mine, the 25th, what time is that? 11?
Stands up.
So is that a Gatlin or?
That's
Gatlin's a junior.
Washington
Monument.
Washington Monument. Gatlin will be the maintenance,
I
trail
got you.
maintenance. And the CEO of the Appalachian Trail Conservancy is coming, and the regional manager, and the director, and I don't think we'll get any post office. Marie is going to, she has a speech that she's going to give. But
Anybody have any other questions?
Speaking of the Appalachian Trail, let Spice know that I've got 2 text messages from people on the trail wanting rides from here to there to there to there. It's always when I can't help them out, but that, it's called Far Out. That
Yeah.
app, it definitely works.
right,
Yeah, just 2 in a week. So.
I'll let her know. She's on the,
She
and
put
we
me on.
want to network with our other commissions on this project too, especially the Boonesboro Environmental Commission. There's a whole section that we can do on leave no trace, and there are components of this that they can team up with us on as well. And Spice is on the environmental committee and is their liaison for the Appalachian Trail Committee, so.
So Tommy, did you ever think about, doing this with, coinciding with the movies? Like they have the movie at nighttime, because August 16th will be the last one,
Okay.
and they could, watch the movie and camp out.
Can we add another movie?
Now, well, not,
We do own the blow up thing, but you've got to have a license.
It's almost almost $400 and some dollars for.
To do
maybe we could, now maybe we might be able to get something from the library.
Yeah, what if we were to be able to?
Make it the last one, like in September or
Anytime
something.
they're showing it to more than so many people, it's, you can have a license for. So it's not a matter of whether or not you own it, it's how many people are watching it. Someone's gonna come again.
Oh,
they
it's
will.
a big
You'd be
deal having
surprised.
this jam life.
You'd be surprised.
Try to not cuss hate anymore.
Yeah. You know, now whether they want to reschedule one, you know what I mean, that would be a whole different thing. But I know that they've already budgeted like the license fee, like I think the library pays half.
Yeah.
The park board pays, and then, yeah, the cost of the movies, it's, you know. But maybe your next year you can do,
Right.
you know what I
We could
mean?
do- we could add an outdoor film festival component. And those would be independent filmmakers, so it'd be the same criteria. Probably not, so
I don't know.
there's something to consider. I know that the Appalachian Trail Conservancy has a library of videos that I'm sure that they would allow us to use if we wanted to do something.
Sounds good. Okay, have pre-weather.
Okay, wish me luck.
Hope the weather cooperates.
I've got the artwork done, that's a good thing.
Wow.
And that was donated, even better. That's right. Thank you for your time tonight.
What up?
Thank you guys, everyone stay
No.
I'll
see you.
If you need more, let me know.
Thank you.
I'm good. I had a thought. I'm looking for, that does a lot of stuff for some organizations, and I was kind of, it's kind of like not a dare, but a thing for the community, to reach out to our Boonesboro community and Autism Awareness Month, which is the month of April. So, it's not gonna cost the town any money. My thought was to try to find and reach out to all the families in the Boonesboro community that has autistic children or adults, and make a vote to give them, this is all coming from Circle Creations, my company, they would get, if they would want, they would get a free bow to put on their door. And then I was wondering, that big, but then we would make, and I have several different ones, and I do have some pictures of some other ones, I couldn't bring them all in here. But I was wondering, now these are all waterproof, so I was wondering if I could put them on poles throughout the town.
What do you think? Think you can do that?
Yeah, I was gonna probably jump.
I mean, breast cancer
Yeah,
does
different
it,
breast
did
cancer.
it for purple.
Very good.
Oh,
For the purpose
Yeah.
for the drugs.
Yeah.
Sherry, just in my experience, hanging high enough that the kids can't grab it when they walk by.
My ladder, my step stool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have different ones that I would put out because I have ones that are really like colorful, a little bit more than what this is. That is for the autism awareness. Because 1 in 46 children are diagnosed with autism. And it's just something that needs to go out. Also, if they could get it on the town page, Facebook page, and I would do a different, I do have just a preliminary, where they can reach out to me if, that I could get them to them, and then I will take care of it.
We thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it very much like we do like the ornaments, the flat ornaments that we do at Christmas time. So just email it to me and I'll get it up for you like
Oh, great.
tomorrow if you.
Yeah, you just have
Give
to
it to me.
remove them.
You're gonna do it for a whole month, right?
It looks like World Autism Day is Wednesday.
Yes, second, April 2nd. I don't know if I can get them all up by then, but I would definitely try. And then I also am gonna do Maryland, states, or autism. It's the Maryland chapter of autism. It's located in Boones, or in Baltimore, Maryland. They give to families that, to help them out. They have, because supposedly, I think by the age of 4, they need to be in the system so that they can get help with their children. So I am also going to put on here, if anybody wants to buy a ribbon or a bow, all the money that is made off of those will go to that charity. So just put that up.
Are you the county chapter?
No, I'm just
You're just independent.
I'm just a little
Just.
guy.
Okay.
I just have a little decor shop in Boonesboro and on the outskirts of Boonesboro, and I'm trying to help out the community by doing something for the children.
How do you identify the family that have an autistic child?
Well, I have, hopefully by getting it out on the page, I've got it on my Facebook page, and I've contacted the schools. And waiting on them to try to help me out a little bit, but they're gonna put the paper in at the school also, so that we can reach out.
Do you have a copy now?
You can have this one, but this is not the finished one.
Oh, okay.
This is just a summary,
Well,
but I'll get that into for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I already have it. Nope. Appreciate it. Thank
Did you only do Boonesboro to Sharpsburg, Greenbrier?
I only did Boonesboro, but I could reach out to them to see, because they're really there in the community too. But, since I was from Boonesboro, I just want to work on our area, but that's a good idea.
Gotta start somewhere. You can't do it all.
Well, I can reach out to them also, probably would help.
You might want to check with
feeders
Keedysville
in the
too, because there's probably kids in Keedysville that come to Boonesboro Elementary.
Well, they go to Sharpsburg.
They all
Yeah.
go to Sharpsburg.
Elementary.
Let's just can we just think about doing it here first and see how it goes, then maybe we can include next year.
Right.
Because
So we don't want to.
we don't want to overburden you.
Well, I forgot recruits at the back, because I told them, I said, once we, get it okay, so I have some people saying.
Oh, awesome.
Good.
Yeah, just make sure you get it to Kim, because as soon as the votes go up, people will ask. whether they-
Yep, I will get this out to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Might even have it there tonight. I'll email it to you.
They'll be pretty around town.
The colorful, yes, they are. There's, I have.
Oh, that was for the Ukraine.
Here, this is another one on the bottom, that is gonna be available, and then I have one more, I'm just waiting on the ribbon to come in, and it came in today, so I will get those. So it'll be all different, colors.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yep, I figured that I could give back, my way to give back to the community.
How many kids did you say?
1 in 46. 1 in 46.
What you said.
She's 43.
Yeah.
Well,
And believe it or not, boys
are 44% more likely to have autism.
They got loved up issues too.
Wow.
Sherry, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you for letting me do that, so if you see the crazy one, there's lots of.
I have an answer to that.
Here it is.
Sherry, how long are you gonna leave those up?
I thought it was
I do.
Yep, I'll see you there. Yep, I'm not gonna burden the town, I'll take care of it.
Sherry, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, let me talk to him. Who'd you talk to?
In the area, no, I thought I would know a little bit more before I came here, and if the school board got back to me a little sooner. So just being the first year and just jumped into this a week ago, it's kind of hard to get everybody on board, but,
I think it's a good deal.
Yep.
so even if they're towards the end of the month getting back to me, at least they'll get them out by the end of the month. But I'm gonna hope they have all the
Is he just talking about paying?
things up by the end of the week.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
We don't have any citizens' comments. Before we go on to the workshop business, Greg, do you have anything you'd like to bring up?
No, sir.
Okay. Want to, workshop business sewer debt discussion. Tony?
Sure. So we've had this conversation a couple times. I guess I just want to bring it back to the council and see if there's any appetite to relieve this sewer fund debt to the general fund and make a clean sweep with FY26 and move forward.
Well, I would say I'm in total agreement with doing that, but I wouldn't exactly call it a clean sweep, but we will continue to subsidize for a few years until we get to at least the end of the 7-year plan.
And I would qualify that statement by saying that anything that we get moving forward will be paid back.
Oh, okay,
Unlike in the past where it was just assumed
okay.
that it was gonna be paid back and we knew how things go when you assume. So no, there will be a plan forward.
Okay.
Well, I could go back to making a statement too, where, I mean, as we kept the property tax rate the same, but assessments go up, again, the same home sitting in town is worth more money purely because we provide public water and sewer than it is sitting outside the town limits. So, I mean, there can be an argument made that, you know, some of your property taxes helping with the water and sewer funds, you know what I mean, can be legitimized. I guess my hang up is saying subsidizing it. You know what I mean? I mean, again, you know, your home is worth more because
So,
it's on public utilities.
Moving forward, then
So I'm just,
it would be more of a,
again, I'm not opposed to considering, you know, a portion of property taxes going to water fund and sewer fund.
not as a line, but
the
just part of
mechanics
the, part of the operating. Okay.
You know, the auditors, because that's, you know, legitimate. Again, you know what I mean?
I did not ask Jason that specific
Yeah.
question. I asked him your other question,
Yeah.
that if it would go against us by wiping the debt out, and he
Yeah.
said absolutely not.
Okay.
And actually, it was not in our favor of the way it was,
Right.
of showing a $1.8 billion debt
Right.
owed back.
But I guess I still don't quite understand his accounting entry, how it goes away. It's gonna be I mean, non-recovered loan. You know what I mean?
Which are you trying to treat us like a charge off?
It's a
Yeah,
write-off.
it's a write-off.
It's a write-off.
Yeah.
That's a write-off.
It's a write-off.
It's still there, we can pay for it.
It's just that instead of us trying to continually budget for this repayment, we can just stop and move forward.
Okay, but I hadn't heard your idea before, Tony, and that's a good idea, and your idea is not bad either, just to take a portion of the property tax and have it as revenue for water and revenue for sewer.
If needed.
Well,
You know what I mean? I'm just
it's gonna
saying-
be needed for a while.
Well, yeah.
Again, I guess my hang up is saying subsidy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Want to rephrase that?
Yeah, you know, I mean, even if it's in the form of the capital improvement budget.
Sure.
The general
I like that
budget and
idea.
help with capital improvements.
Well, and back to Tony's first point, I don't know about the GL increase, and I don't care, frankly, but we're not insolvent.
So what's the point? Let's just wipe it off the books and get it done. That's what Jason said in our last meeting. He said it, we're gonna keep it, we're not, instead of trying to knock it down, just forget it.
So then in the budget discussion, I think we put a line in the next year budget for a repayment, you're just gonna take that out and put that.
If we make that agreement, yes.
It seems like everybody's in agreement to it, so why don't we go ahead and put that on the agenda for our mayor and council meeting so we can actually vote on it in a public meeting.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes, sir.
It is, but it looks better for us to approve it at a regular mayor and council.
I would say if you put that in the budget, you know.
The sewer guys,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Storm management on Drew.
So you all got some updated information this afternoon. You had asked at our last meeting, we talked about what is the policy or what should the policy of the town be with regard to stormwater management. At the time, you asked for some more and then some additional information to understand what the costs were before you could make a determination. So reached out to town of Middletown, they just bid their mowing services. So they just did it for 2023, 25, 26, 27. Looked at the average cost of the stormwater management ponds, not the parks, because cutting a football field is a different cost than when you're cutting the pond. So I added up all the stormwater management ponds, divided the cost into the number of acres, and I got a cost per acre for FY 2025, $34.18 per acre. Number of cuts generally in a year is 31, basically once a week, every week for the season. So how does that relate to Boonesboro? Boonesboro, we have 7 ponds, totaling about 5.7 acres. Cost per acre, $34.18. That times 31 cuts. If you were to contract out our stormwater management facilities to mow the grass, not fix the pipe, not fix the fencing, not that, just the mowing, so the guys don't have to do it and deal with it, it would cost the town $6,039.60. That's what it would cost. I attached the bid information so that you could actually see some of that information, and I did update the map that does show you in highlighted colors where the ones are that the town owns. The town owns the ones that are in red. So when you look at the map and you see red, those are ponds that the town is responsible for. Remember, I had said, let's take a look at Sycamore Run, because Sycamore Run was built with the new stormwater management regulations. You can see how many of those minor ponds are gonna, when you look at something like Crestview, was developed and it has 1 pond. If you look at Sycamore Run and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that the HOA maintains, and 1, 2, 3 that we maintain.
There is no HOA in Sycamore Run, right?
Sycamore Run is maintained by us, we mow that.
You mow all these up in here?
Absolutely, and I got the old stormwater reports on.
Well, no, up here. You mow those?
All of them, at Sycamore Run are all maintained by us, every single one of them. Yeah.
You know they're not owned by the town.
And there's 2 in Crestview, not 1.
They're not owned by the town.
Who's behind my house?
Then we might have another issue.
Just like details matter.
That's a pond and there's
Just
no.
like details matter.
Well, there's no HOA out there, so how are they not owned by that? Somebody has to own.
They say HOA, when you click on the tax record, it says HOA.
I thought as they phased that Sycamore Run development in, that you kept taking over each
Yeah.
phase.
So phase 1 over, phase 2, phase 3.
And that would include pond, right? So,
Yeah, 'cause I kept asking, why would the town take over all these little tiny ponds? It just added more to the.
Did they have a covenant, Greg?
Huh?
Did Sycamore Run have a covenant? The builder have a covenant, not an eight? Because I'm in a development in Morgansville that had a covenant. The county mows our storm drains there. So
That's what I was always told.
yeah, because when the development's done, then it's owned by the county, or in your case, it would be Boonesboro, if it was a covenant development.
Yeah.
So
If you cut property, you don't know. Now, maybe you're supposed to own it, the deed's never transferred. But if you look at this, do you see what the highlighted ones are? When I click on this one, you see all the other ones that highlight up?
Well, if you can figure it out, it would make me very happy. I just get all the reports for that.
So this is Sycamore Run. Does everybody see where we are?
Yes.
See this pond here, this pond here, this pond here? When I click on it, it says who owns it. King Road Associates. Never got transferred. And I've never found a plat that says it was supposed to be dedicated to the town.
But when we did our final walkthrough, Drew, and King Road Associates turned over everything, so they turned over everything to us but the ponds? Because they turned the streets all over to us.
Yeah, but that's not part of those are not part of the street right of way. These are separate parcels of land outside of the right of way.
So then maybe it
What's-
still is?
Well, what's supposed to happen, what probably was supposed to happen and didn't, nobody followed up at the end and said, give me a deed for those lots so that we can take care of it.
Maybe we don't want that then.
Right now.
This isn't the only one.
Right
The one
now,
in Crestview is the
taxes
same way.
on that property?
Huh?
Are we getting
But
taxed?
Crestview
Yeah.
has an HOA.
Yeah, you're getting taxes.
No, he means, or
No, tax revenue, if they
You're
own the
getting tax
property.
revenue.
they're paying us taxes.
They're paying
If it's in their
taxes,
name,
and
we're getting
we're
tax
not-
revenue.
I'm just
In
telling you.
other words, they're paying us to mow it with their taxes.
In a sense, somebody's gonna pick it up sooner or later and gonna wanna dump them.
That's the reason I'm asking, if it's in their name, they're certainly paying taxes on it.
They are.
And you say there's 2 in Crestview?
There's two.
Yeah, there's one pond in Crestview that the town owns, but the pump station down here, you guys, nobody ever got a deed for the pump station. It's still owned by somebody called GNR
GNR8.
NO something. Nobody ever got a deed for it, so it's still, it's not the town's name.
But they have an HOA. Crestview has an HOA.
Okay, this, just to add to it and.
You don't know that one, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we had a pump station set, or the town of Pittsburgh built a water pump station on that property. That's the one we just ripped down.
That's the
Right
one we
behind my
decided.
house. I live on Burger Shop, behind my house. Who mows that grass? That was a pond. Okay, there's a big pipe sticking out of the ground. And the pump station, now the pump station's gone. But the town is mowing that grass?
Yeah, that's the town's contractor.
Because we're gonna have an easement there. We're gonna do that, we're gonna have an easement there.
Aside from cleaning up the mess, and Greg, I didn't know you maintained those ponds. I just saw it, King Road Associates, and I just assumed an HOA did it.
We didn't start till last November when we did the final walkthrough and turned it over to us. Then we started maintaining it.
And then nobody deeded the ground to us.
It's real easy. If you ask them for a deed, they'll do it like that because they'll realize they're paying taxes on it. Or that we just say, we're not gonna cut it anymore, you take care of it.
Right.
And they have to follow the town's ordinance on grass cutting. I mean, you can handle it a couple of ways. You're talking about cleaning up the problem. I'm just saying, what do you want to do going forward? You can see how this gets out of control very fast.
Well, and also too, they're still King Road Associates.
And they still own land,
They
yeah.
still-
Yeah, and they're a taxpayer.
Yeah.
They pay a hell of a lot of taxes on that piece of land right there. So
They don't know how much they're paying for these.
somebody like that, that has people that manage their stuff, that never looks at the number, never looks at a $1,000 tax bill from Boonesboro, Maryland, when they live in Atlanta, and probably own $100 million in assets. They could care less. It's all written off in their taxes and the way they do things. My point is this, it's easy to get it, but do we want it? Do we not want it? I mean, kind of sitting in a driver's seat here. Now, I can spend days and weeks tearing back through the records, trying to find what was the idea, what was the intent. And I know,
Intent was we were taking over.
well, Greg's cut them, then I'm gonna have to assume we were taking them over,
Yeah, that was, yeah.
which then makes my map wrong.
We don't mind them paying.
Just so you know. So if that is correct, because I could never figure out, these ponds that are in Sycamore Run, they got transferred to the town.
Yeah.
These did, but these are all ours too. I did not know that. So it's not 7 out of 27. You're at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You're at 15 out of 27.
What about those other 3 there on the very end?
Those are commercial. This is Pete Anderson back there behind
Yeah.
Ace Hardware, this is Middletown Valley Bank, and this is that god-awful Easter Day.
And they take care of their own stuff.
Right, commercial takes care of their own.
Like commercial see a collector's grove, they're all taken care of by HOA, we don't touch this.
Right. So if you go up and you look toward the northern part of town, so if you look up toward the northern part of town, these are, almost all of these are commercial or owned by Fletcher's Grove. This is the doctor's office that's up there. This is the ambulance company. This is the church. There's actually a pond there. It's a big kind of berm, but there's a pond there. This one here, the town has, this is a weird one. This is, comes off of Kinsley. It's that open area where the new road's going through. That's all in part of that design. But these ponds here, this one here, the two big ones off of Weiss takes care of those, I'm pretty sure. This one is taken care of by the shopping center. This one is that one's taken care of by the HOA. I know that. So, I mean, aside from fixing the problems, how we proceed to fix the problem is what do you ultimately want? If you all decide you want HOAs, then when we go to fix these problems, that's what we're going to push. If you say, no, we want to own them. But again, I'm asking the question as to what is the policy? What do you want the policy of the town to be?
So can I ask a question? Do
Ask
we
as many
know
as you
what the policy is like in Funkstown?
I've never
Have they
done
come
a
across
survey.
this, and I mean, do you think that would be information useful for us? Because I know you have said it leaves us open for water from our public streets running into them and making someone else pay for them. So I don't know if there's any, precedent.
I mean, we can look, we can reach out and see what other jurisdictions do. If you'd like to
Whatever
see that.
areas in Maryland, like Brunswick, they have all those.
We took them over. I fought the council on it pretty hard and lost. And my rationale on it was I didn't want the overhead cost, that cost every year. And the council's opinion was because most of the ponds were pronounced right in the middle of the neighborhood or just right off to the side, they wanted to make sure that they looked nice and that they were maintained properly because at the time the development was happening in Middletown, it was the late 90s, early 2000s. They were having all kinds of problems with stormwater management in Frederick as Frederick was growing and HOAs weren't taking care of them and they were getting filled with trash. And they saw that. And they're like, well, I don't want this. If these ponds now have to be a feature because of topography and they're going to be sitting right there at the entrance, we want it to look nice. And the least we can do is put a fence around the damn thing and cut the grass every week so it looks nice. So that's generally why that policy. But it was expensive. It's very expensive.
Well, that's why I'm kind of there, like, I don't want them to look like crap, because I know sooner or later, they're gonna take care of them, when they look like crap, they just want to take care of them, but I don't want them. I want them.
Well, that's when the ordinance of how high your grass is comes into effect then, correct?
True, is there any benefit to the town whatsoever, MS4, anything to keep it?
The only thing that's a benefit is if you have to fix the pond for MS4. If you own it, you don't have to get permission. That's your benefit to the town. If they come in and say, you gotta retrofit this one, because they will identify ones that have to be retrofitted. You gotta make this one. If we own it, we don't have to ask anybody's permission. We schedule it, we budget the money, we fix it. If it's an HOA, they're gonna go after the HOA. If the HOA doesn't perform, they're gonna come after the town, make the town go after the HOA. And ultimately, if it got down to a legal battle like the water battle long ago, you might be forced to take it over even if you didn't want to, because you're the public entity, blah, blah, blah. So
going down the road, if we were to not take the road now, doesn't mean that couldn't happen.
it's a policy. You all can change it at any time you want, but it's fundamental.
If we take them down and decide it's a bad move, kind of stuff. One's reversible, one's not.
The planning commission made was that if we take them now, HOAs are never gonna take them back. But if we put it on the HOA now and then we reevaluate in a few years and find that they're not doing a good job and it's a pain, the HOAs probably hand them over happily.
I'm in favor.
Well, those little, they're small to begin with.
Yes, the new ones are small. The new ones are these little bioretention areas you know, the big giant ponds, you don't typically see those anymore. It's all about first flush, blah, blah, blah. I won't bore you with all that stuff. The point is, there's a lot of them. You know, they're trying to pick up and treat the water all along the way instead of taking it to one big pond and treating it. A big example of that is behind Weiss.
I say, you could weed whack that stuff.
It's not just that there's a lot of them, it's also that
It's a lot of
it's taking time away from public works that we already.
We
just
never
talked
doing
about
those
that.
now.
It takes me about 30 days to do the ones we own now. To go in and do all of my reports for MS4, takes me about 30 days. That's not counting any of the new ones. I haven't did Sycamore Run yet. That's going in and getting all my pictures, my longitude, my latitude, my inflow, my outflow for the county.
And so the planning commission, I think it was actually, their first brought up that we shouldn't be doing mowing anyway. He thinks that we should be contracting all of our mowing out. So I think that's what prompted Drew to get Middletown's prices for mowing. And if you look at how much it's costing them, either for the whole town to be mowed or just for the ponds to be maintained, it's something we can't afford right now.
Well, and to JR's point, something I didn't really push back in the meeting with him, he likes to contact their tracking out methodology, where you don't have to pay benefits, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're contracting them, you're still paying them this year.
Right.
But I have a question for Drew. So up the north part of town there, you mentioned the doctor's office, Dollar General, the church, so on and so forth.
Right.
Are there any individuals that are not commercial that wouldn't have an HOA, if that makes sense? I mean, we've had a lot of talk about an HOA, but what about, is there any cases where one house has a pond and they're not an HOA?
And they take care of it.
I mean, looking at your map, you know what I'm saying?
There's always exceptions, Eric, so I'm sure there's something out there, but in general, the idea is that these ponds are not gonna be built unless you're building something new, right? If it was there from 1962, it's there, you know, they don't make you come back and fix it. It's always when you develop something new. That's why the question is, that's why it's the beginning question, why I'm asking you guys what the policy is what do I tell people when they want to do something? If you have a commercial property, you're gonna build your own, you're gonna maintain it. You've answered my question, it's not a big deal.
So for example, Dale Ford out the road.
Yep.
He's got a couple water taps that he's around, I believe is for sale, and they intend on building a couple of houses. Well, a couple of houses is not an HOA, I don't believe.
Nope.
But it's new, so he'll have to have a pond or ponds. So is that a situation where we have?
He's out of town.
He's out.
He's out.
He's out.
He's out.
That
He's out.
doesn't
But let's pretend he was in town. Let's just
he's
pretend he was in town.
affect-
All right.
If he was in town and he's gonna build multiple houses, he's going to have to get an access road. He's gonna have to have a road in the county, unless they're all lined up on State Highway 8.
He has an access road.
Yeah, he's got a little trailer.
So once he goes to the county and tries to develop, he's gonna be doing a couple of unit subdivision. He's gonna be required to put a road in. The second he puts that road in, he's gonna crack the threshold for stormwater management. He's gonna have to have one. Someone at the county is gonna determine who's gonna take care of that. He would, from the planning commission, assuming he was in town, the planning commission would look at the site plan, that will be a question. Who's taking care of the pond?
So you only need, change my scenario, out Mount Laurel Road, there's a couple of lots out there. Well,
Try again.
let's pick it. I'm just trying to get to the point of, if it's something new.
If it's something new.
And it's one house, and it's in town, they don't need a pond. Well, what determines if they need a pond?
If they disturb or create more than 5,000 square feet of impervious area.
So we could have a situation where one house in town has a pond.
Mhm.
And
What
it's
about
not
the
an
top of Lake and Avenue? That would be,
I have
there's what, 5 lots
square feet is your
subdivided.
Top of Lake and Avenue's not-
Anyway, I'm not in favor of taking them over either. I made a comment the other night, I sort of misspoke and I backed myself up. There were some comments about HOAs and stormwater ponds. And there was a discussion about, well, some might look good and some might look bad. And I'm like, well, if you want to live in a crappy neighborhood, then live in a crappy neighborhood. But then I backed up and thought about Battlefield Estates right beside of me. It might be an HOA, and that is right where their stormwater pond is gonna go, right beside my house, which if I remember correctly, is like 3 acres or something.
Yeah, it's big.
So I'm like, well, I don't want that thing to look like crap right beside my house. I'm not an HOA, but they are. So there's all these little one-off kind of.
Guys, this is not one about dollars and cents, okay? If you do the dollars and cents, it's a no-brainer. You give it to the HOAs and you deal with it down the road if you want to. This is purely political. This is purely what you think is important in your town to maintain. And can you afford that? We all want the Cadillac, right? But what can we really afford and what's reasonable for the residents? And does it matter long-term or not matter long-term?
The key.
Personal decision by officials. That's not for us, you know, and I'm happy to keep providing information. I will reach out and see if I get kind of a quick survey to see what the other jurisdictions do in
Yeah,
general.
I'd be interested in that. And it's
Right.
no rush, because I don't feel, you know.
But it's getting to be mowing time, and I want him to stop if we're not gonna take over. If we don't own him, he's gonna stop mowing them, because he can come mow my grass then too.
Yeah, but I believe the ones at Sycamore Run is a process problem where something happened in that
Dean
chain.
South being finished in the next however many
Right,
months.
but they have an HOA and they're already taking care of those,
They're gonna
that's
take care
already
of
in an
theirs.
area that where it's been deemed and decided.
Yes.
So our only thing then on the horizon would be out at the end of 67
Or Battlefield
and-
Estates.
and Battlefield Estates, what would
Right.
be a policy.
And I pick on Middletown just because I know it, but you know, one of the things that the town actively did, and it was a choice. The Public Works Department in Middletown, nobody cuts grass. Nobody shovels sidewalks. That's all contracted out. Because the town did not want to increase staff. They did not want to increase staff. Now, it cost $100,000 a year to cut over 110 acres, that's parks, everything. Stormwater management plan, it's $100,000. 31, every single week, 31 weeks, and basically there was like 4 guys that basically were in Middletown for 3 days, cutting everything, right? It's $100,000. A lot of money, right? How many employees do you think it would take to cut that same 100 acres? And then you've got to maintain the mowers, you gotta have insurance on the mowers? Or do you just take the hit and just pay the thing or whatever? That is really a decision that you all have to make, and not directly related to this, but somewhat related, because what is your desire? Do you, you know, and there are different opinions, right? The council, one thing the council never let go is the council never let go of snowplow. Because they knew how particular people are about snowplowing, and they wanted to have direct control of the people that are out there plowing it. If it was up to me, I'd have had it contracted out. Why? Save money. Money. That's the job of the town. You know, you're always worried about the money. But the council's like, no, we want it done a certain way. So these are things that you're making decisions on. But there's not necessarily, you all wear a lot of hats. You wear the financial hat, you wear, you know, the political hat, you wear the neighbor hat, you know, you have all these different hats, and you're elected, and you have to balance all of those. My job's easy. I just give you the facts.
No offense to Greg and his guys, we'll never contract it as long as I'm there, because that's the only time I don't get any complaints. I get compliments about how great a job that they do plowing the snow.
Well, plus nobody's gonna not be able to go to work because the grass is too high in the storm.
Good point, Greg. It's a good point. I mean, you're right.
I'm kind of repeating this thing to death. I mean, I'm kind of, I have what's kind of from my
Oh,
mind.
let's
We
find
can
out
put
what
on
the
this
other-
agenda and make a vote on next meeting, or?
I'd like to find more information.
I'll take a
What
survey.
Tom
Get
Town's
that
doing,
information.
What are the local
Brunswick, I would
jurisdictions
like
doing when it comes to this?
Yeah,
See
next
if
meeting,
there's
let's close this deal.
But from the perspective of the one who's actually doing it, you would rather us not have to, correct?
Yeah, because there's more to it than just mowing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of maintenance to it, there's a lot of time and paperwork to it.
It is.
Well, we need to decide
And I-
sooner more than later.
tend to agree with Greg, and we talked about requiring HOA and new developments, and they would have to maintain
Get the
that.
file information.
Or, you know, builder, owning, maintaining
Okay.
it, which is why some still need South Main or want to use South Main Road Association.
So that's a
Plan
couple
now
of things that
for-
we need to- You do, turn over, take them over.
You're still gonna have a lot you gotta maintain, because they're already yours, there's nothing you can do. But Going forward, I have to
Going
maintain it.
forward, I'll take on more.
Yep.
So at this point, you want Drew to get an idea of what neighboring municipalities do and bring it to the next meeting? And then maybe we can make a decision at the next meeting so that we can put this to rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right, agreeing.
Well, here's my only other problem though, I do think if you're gonna make a decision, that agenda item needs to say more than just stormwater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like, I feel like,
You would have a status report.
yeah, you know what I mean, like, I
Yeah.
don't, I just feel like, I mean, I know no one, Easter Day should have the right to, weigh in on something, that's affecting their
What do you
ownership,
wanna
like
call it?
battlefield
You wanna
of
call it
change.
on something?
I don't know, I'm just saying, but again, it's a policy, so I don't know that you need public, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Landowners need to know
Yes,
you're voting on something that affects them. Does that make sense?
you, you are, and that policy, right, I hear you saying.
Yeah, that's all, that's what I'm saying, it just needs to be.
They can't even put cutouts in for the businesses, they go ahead and put a sidewalk in the curb along. Now they'll have to cut all that out, to put the entrances. Talk about wasting money. Okay, thank you, Drew. Next item, proposed tax amendment to zoning code.
It's true again.
Yeah.
I'm a bad penny, I keep showing up.
Geez, you.
All right, so this is something the planning commission is working on. I think I discussed this with you at the last, at your actual council meeting. This all was generated by what happened behind, the store over here, Pathfinders. And they put the building, and we went through what the code was and what we wanted to be. Long story short, the planning commission is asking the mayor and council to consider the following draft language that would be put in the form of an ordinance, public hearing scheduled, and then you would vote on it. This would change the requirements for site plans. We talked a little bit about this before. The site plan would be submitted to the planning commission. You do not need a site plan if all of these things are true, A through E. They all have to be true, not false, not just one, all of them. So there is no change in the amount of parking needed. Remember, parking is determined by use. If you're a restaurant, it's a certain amount. If you're this, it's a certain amount. The intensity of use has not changed. Meaning, might have been a restaurant, but it only had 7 seats, and now you turned it into 35. That's a change in intensity. There are no exterior or structural changes. That immediately triggers it. You want that in a small town. Someone's gonna be building something next to you, hence the point of why everybody was upset about that. Nobody knew about it because no site plan was filed. Okay? The building has not been grandfathered. Remember, we're not grandfathering anything else. The building or site meets all existing regulations in the district for which it's located. Meaning it's not sitting there with a whole bunch of illegal stuff going on. You're not gonna, that's not okay.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
can you,
Blow it up?
yes. So like Nate's tent is not a structure.
That's correct. It's temporary.
There you
Okay. So the planning commission, all site plans shall automatically, this takes care of, remember, none of our site plans have expiration dates. We have no expiration dates on any of our plans. We give an approval to someone, it never expires. So one of the things we should do, because regulations change, desires of the town change, needs of the town change, we want to have a limit. Planning commission's beat back and forth 3 years, 5 years, I don't think 100% gotten on that, but 3 years seems to be about right. 5, some felt 5 was a little bit more reasonable. Again, that's a number, but all site plans that get approved will have 3 years and then they expire. And nobody gets grandfathered. If you pass this ordinance, the date you pass that ordinance, that is the approval of all previously approved plans. And they all get letters saying this plan, your concept plan, for example, the preserve at Foxcan. They will get a letter saying, based on the ordinance that was passed, your concept plan now has an approval date of this. You have 3 years from this date if it expires, you have to file a new concept plan, site plan, whatever the case might be.
Do you get an extension of that, or does it have to be redone?
You can, you can get an extension. You have to request it a month in advance. Now, we're gonna notify them when the deadline's coming up. I usually send it out 6 months in advance. Saying, hey, you got a site plan out there, it's gonna expire, just letting you know. Now, they can come back in for one-time exception. The specific point of this is that they must be making some effort to move forward. It can't just be, I couldn't find a buyer, it's just sat here, I just wanted to do. What have you done to move the project forward? And is it a real project?
That's why I think the 3-year deal would be best. Get it moving.
Exactly.
That's at our discretion, what they're making, what projects they're making.
It can be arbitrated, but yeah. Bottom line.
Okay, so I see that now says it to exceed an extension of 12 months versus what we were given of 6. Is that what the claim?
Well, you're basically saying if you want to extend it, we'll give you 1 more year,
Okay.
but
So I'm good with that.
you're not getting any
Just
more
wanted
than
to
that.
make sure.
Unless there's some extenuating circumstance, like state highway has to give an approval and they don't get, I mean, if there's something like that out there, that's different. That's correct.
I hate to do this to you, I've seen this thing 15 times, but in letter A, the last sentence, issued permit has to be done in good faith. I hate those things that are subjective. What the heck is good faith? We know what it is, but I'm wondering, for example, Easter Day out here, they could say they've begun in good faith.
Good faith in the civil litigation of land use. Good faith means you are doing something and they can show proof that you are trying to get or receive a permit to move forward. A letter, an application,
Always doesn't get us
Loan.
something that you can show that you did something to forward the permit to start the work. If you can show 8 months ago you filed this permit, 4 months ago you paid the fee, 6 months ago I got the drawing signed, I'm just not gonna get it till next month because the engineer's out. Okay, there's an extension, right? The guy comes in and he drops it, he comes, well, what'd you do since you got the approval? Nothing. Well, I sent a letter yesterday to the county. No, that's not good faith.
I just don't want to get boxed in. Like, you remember the battlefield discussion?
Yes, I do.
Kingley Associates, where they continued to develop. Well, what's that mean?
Right. Okay, so that's some of your requirements, that gets rid of your grandfathering. And then there were some definitions that the planning commission said, can we get some clearer definitions on a couple of things? Just because there are issues that were coming up again and again and again. One was, what does active adult community mean? So we gave it a definition, accessory buildings, building setback lines, demolition, development, site development, and storage. So this is what's called a text amendment. You're going to be changing the rules on how you determine whether site plans are required or not. This is something that must be passed by the council because this is part of your land use management. You're telling people what they can and can't do with their property. You're required to hold a public hearing to address your concerns, apparently, that does everybody have the ability to know that there was a public hearing to talk about site plan requirements? Now, am I gonna go knocking on every developer door saying, here guys, there's a really important meeting? No, I'm not gonna do that. But if somebody calls and asks, absolutely, here it is, here's the staff report, here's the information. Your question to you all is, are you okay with sending this to the attorney to put in the legal format? The reason we keep coming back is making sure everybody's okay with this, because we don't want to do revisions with attorneys because they charge money every time you do that. So I'd rather get it as close to we can get it than you send it to your attorney. Your attorney's gonna put it in the legalese, right? And we're gonna read it, make sure we still all understand it, make sure we're not changing any of the meetings, and then you hold your public.
I'm good.
Yes, for clarification, that B is gonna be the extension for 12 months, not 6.
The planning commission's gonna call this.
Yeah. Do you want a motion to go forward with it?
I would like a motion to prepare the legal ordinance for a public hearing.
Do I have a motion? So moved. Second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to move forward. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstain. Motion carries. Okay, go for it. Okay, BPD parking fine schedule. Chief?
I'll throw it out to you guys. James made all the changes, and what do you guys think? Anything else?
I have one question.
Yep.
Parking on or obstructing sidewalk. Now we're back to Sycamore Run, because isn't in Sycamore Run when they're pulled in their driveway, they cross the sidewalk. I just don't want those people to be fined.
I wouldn't count that, I would
I
never
mean,
write
it's a
that.
stupid
If they're in
layout,
the driveway, I would never
Bruce,
write
but,
The driveway is a personal problem.
well, they're in the driveway, but it does obstruct the sidewalk.
Because they have 6-foot
You
driveway.
know what, that's for.
Right, because their driveway does not fit a car without
We're not.
clearing the
It's
parking.
good, right, that's where discretion comes in, we have to make it,
Yeah, we're not.
extend discretion on that.
And yeah, just, you know what I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just,
good point, Marilyn.
just because of the whole Sycamore Run thing and obstructing the sidewalk, I just wanted
No,
to make sure
we're
that
not gonna
that's,
target
right,
anything like
you know.
that. That's not.
I wouldn't expect you to, but I
No.
just wanna make sure we're clear on that.
Can we put something out again on Facebook about making sure they park the right way?
Yes.
Because it's everywhere, you know, and they don't want us, you know, writing $50 tickets, everyone, but I guess if we write them $50 tickets, they won't do it again.
Yeah,
But if
this
you put
is-
it out,
This is a tool.
That's what's gonna happen.
If a situation comes up where you really need it.
Oh, yeah.
Information, now you have, it.
Oh,
That's all, you don't need
And we have warnings on that, so we don't have to go right into our fines yet.
I rarely do.
The biggest culprit, I don't want to be there for 18 more days, is down Fulton Bank. People park on the wrong side of Fulton Bank, run in, do their banking, and come out, get in their car and go.
Yep.
And Chief, I mentioned to a couple of people that did that, I said, you know, you're parked illegal. Right.
Okay.
Okay, you'll get it.
Chief, where'd James get the template for the parking check? It looks nice. I guess the template for the.
We had this, didn't we?
James is very good.
Yeah, and then he basically just redid the entire thing, and we're gonna take it up to Roxbury, the state prison, and should have it printed for fairly cheap, so if anything. So, yeah.
Bring them back to cut the grass.
Yeah. Hancock used to have my last couple of years up there, they had an inmate crew cutting, park. There was like 4 parks up there, I think, we had 4 parks.
We use them.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them down here.
Okay.
I've seen them down here a lot.
Oh, they like to do that, I mean.
You get them once or twice a week, 5 guys.
I know this year I
They're
walked,
usually not an issue.
you know, they were out there working in the heat.
Yeah.
I bought them a pizza and sodas, you know.
Yeah.
We get my compliment.
No,
to
nice,
James on
nice,
that.
nice
Yeah,
job.
he did a very, yeah, I mean, he.
While we're still on the police thing, I'm gonna open up this can of worms again. We were talking about the park and closing the park, and I know when Chief Morgan was here, the police were helping with closing the bathroom.
Okay.
Is there any desire to do that synergy, or does that help Greg's staff?
That's up to that man right there, if he
What do
wants
you
to
want
have
us to
his
do,
offer.
right?
It's up to you. My guys don't care, they get an hour of overtime for locking themselves.
Right.
It's up completely up to you, you're the, it's
I mean, it
your.
would be Robbie and Billy, there are.
I have already set of keys, but Billy would need a set of keys.
Well, that hour of overtime is for them to run back in here and do it and everything, right? Because we have to give a minimum of an hour, so.
And you would still lock them at dark.
Are they locking just two bedrooms?
Well, we were on 3, the Boy Scouts, the one out on Park Drive, and then the one down by the parking lot, by the police station. The one deep, one down there, we never touched.
We've never locked up since I've been here, we've never had a problem with it.
Down by the pond, we never touched that.
Okay.
Did you leave that one unlocked?
It's always been unlocked.
Wow.
Which one?
Down at the pond?
We usually leave it unlocked because the football players and the Boy Scouts are down there way past dark.
Especially in the fall.
So that bathroom stays unlocked for them guys. You get down there and they got lights set up shining down on the football field.
Yeah.
So that's why that bathroom's never locked.
Yeah.
And I don't want to insult guys with not getting them overtime, but I also was just trying to think if it's, you know, a nuisance, and if the police are, you know, doing a patrol and checking the parks
My guys don't carry it away, they get tons of overtime, so that's completely up to the chief whether he wants to do it or not.
We can
Well,
do it.
I mean,
Take care of it.
and if you think
And I
about
don't
it,
care if you do a sharing thing or something, just trying to.
Well, it's 100% gonna get done. If Greg's guys make it a detail on something they're gonna do, it's 100% gonna get done. There are times when the police department gets busy, it may not get done.
If I get
Well,
busy, or
it's
what if I
not
take off?
So
I
that,
know, I'm just throwing that out.
You just call Greg, just
I'm
let
gonna,
Greg
I'm
know.
gonna back it up. What if we have an arrest, we're in town?
Yes.
Like you said,
I know.
what if we take off?
You forget about
You know, and there's.
it. It may not get done.
what if
And we
take
had to
off?
stop it last year. We had to stop it because there was Chief and Tom. That was it. We had two people. It just became too much. I was calling Greg constantly. Hey, I need your guys to go lock the bathrooms up.
It was a lot.
It was a lot to deal with, and it
After-
could happen again that way this year. It just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, after,
Try it.
I
after
mean, I
5,
just
6
find it
months,
to me
there's only
feel
gonna
it's
be one of
stupid
us.
that we're paying someone overtime an hour,
Yeah.
7 days a week to
Yes.
lock bathrooms. To me, I
And
have a
that was
hard
always
time
Kevin's
justifying,
I mean, that was always,
with
Kevin's issue.
expense.
I just assume Greg continue to do it just to keep,
I
because these
agree.
things can happen. It's just,
Mhm.
keep it in the line. That's a.
If Greg does it, it's guaranteed to be done every night. If we do, there's gonna be that once in a blue moon.
That you're gonna be out.
And it's not a police job, and not saying you can't do it, but I mean, I like to keep this, but that's my opinion.
You're right. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, back to the,
Which is Robbie wants to drive
Road
it back.
parking fine schedule. We have a motion to, give chief permission to go ahead and start this.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Dr. Sally, all guys.
Well, does it have to go before the public?
I was.
You make it an ordinance, it does.
Okay.
It's just a resolution.
Why don't you just give everybody a warning first?
Yeah, we would, Rick, yeah, I mean, we'll be there.
I mean, that's what I
For
would.
like 30 days maybe. I wouldn't go very long.
I would
without-
Well, I would kind of.
Word travels fast.
Should we post this on our site that, I'm just asking.
I wouldn't hurt.
Yes, that is more
That way people,
transparent.
that way you're transparent and people
You
know.
know, we can do a Facebook
I'll
for it,
reach
you
out to
know.
Roxbury tomorrow, I don't know how fast the print on. I mean, it could be days,
Yeah, I
weeks.
don't want it to be the town where, we're stickler, but.
Yeah, I don't wanna
can't
do
be,
Yeah, no,
we can't tolerate,
and we need a box down at the PD.
yes, we gotta get all that up.
Chief, does Pittsburgh get that money?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call park.
Yeah,
All the
Yeah,
signs
all
are
parking
got locked down.
locations and all, yep.
yeah, that's the whole point behind it,
Yeah, we have
So-
no,
I'm anxious to see in a year how this goes.
Yeah,
Be nice.
Do you want
I mean, if we went out
share it, or do you want me
and
to-
actually looked for cars parked.
How about I'll write it up and I'll send it to you. You tell me.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They're all-
They're all-
fire hydrant in my house, I'm screwed.
You can piss half the town.
but, I mean,
Sorry, law.
back in your development, the guy has that ambulance that goes works with these vehicles.
Yep.
That house always has cars
I've
parked.
been there parked the wrong way.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, so that's that's racing, isn't it?
Grace
Yeah.
House in Alba.
Yeah. Yeah, the corner of
What
racing.
is that?
Yeah, that's
Car ambulance, and according to the company, it's not even supposed to be doing that. Whatever.
It's a mess down there.
Well,
it is.
we have the same problem. So,
Okay,
Good job.
we got an town received an invitation for participation in the Sharpsburg Memorial Day Parade. So, if you want to participate, let Rachel or Kim know, so we get the response back.
Who's the
I
date?
won't be available.
May 24th,
Yeah,
I do believe, right? Not on actual Memorial.
We have to let them know by the 15th.
Is it May 24th? It's not actual May 31st.
Correct, it's May 24th.
Oh, they moved it?
Mary
They moved
will be
the
coming out May.
parade? Did they really?
And I will need to know if you're walking or riding, and if you're riding, how many vehicles and what type the vehicles are, and whether or not you're gonna be playing music.
It's a Sharpsburg. You're in Sharpsburg.
Sharpsburg parade.
Oh.
Major rec groups. So they don't, they, two ones playing music right together, that big.
You wanna go?
I mean, I would.
So I have to return it, but that's, I would say one vehicle, you will not be playing music. We mostly for candy, but I don't know what the candy is.
It'll easily be my truck.
Auto.
If you want to do it, please reach out to me by the 14th, and then whoever is doing it,
Kind of got my feeler out for the bid. I haven't guaranteed.
Oh.
I know there was a request that I do that. I don't know.
I don't think Les is going to Jimmy.
Why don't Jamie ask me if what's deadly for the
county.
parade? I think she doesn't want to have.
Probably the state.
Her driving.
Yeah, that's.
Our cruisers are better.
Okay, moving on.
Next year, you can take the.
Consideration of a town cannabis ordinance. Tony?
Yeah, so I emailed everybody, last week, right after the legislative committee meeting. Basically, if we don't do something between now and, what was it, July 1st? Yeah. It's gonna be subject to whatever comes down from the state or federal. And, we were highly encouraged to do something locally. To add to that, Chief sent us out some other documentation in the last day or so that, there are certain things to be expected. And I think we just should jump into this and do something before we're going to be regretting not doing something.
Better do something now and lift it. And
Are we covered under what Chief had in, his reports, or the only place that they would technically use it is in the house?
Well, that's smoking regulation.
You're talking about putting a
You're
dispensary.
talking about dispensaries.
Oh, right, so we're talking about where they can put dispensaries and.
And on-site consumption.
Yeah, and like, they're talking about cannabis drinks. But there's a liquor board, there'll be a cannabis board that they'll have to apply for and get it.
But I also know there's certain things we can and can't restrict.
And I don't think we can restrict that, according to what I read.
I just heard a guy down here at Alex's the other day talking about putting it in his store.
He wants to.
Yeah, I heard him talking about sitting there getting a drink.
He's always wanted to.
But if he'd have
And now
to get
is he
approval
within
from
70
the
feet of
cannabis
a
board to have a
park, which
license
is,
to do it.
Which is right around the corner from
yeah,
us.
allowed or not.
I think it's like 100 feet or 500 feet of a park. He's not allowed to do that.
Under the current ordinance, it's 500 feet. I think what we need to do is set up how far do we want it? I mean, it's 500 feet from the school.
We can't, from my understanding of what I read, you can't increase it, so we couldn't go to 1,000 feet. We'd have to stay within the 500 feet. We can decrease the amount, we can't increase the amount, is my understanding.
They still gotta be, I mean, he wants to sell to students, is what he's big.
But you gotta
It's
be
like
21
smoking,
to
you
buy
gotta
it.
be 21 to buy
Yeah.
it, so, I mean, we can run stings there if we need to.
Yeah.
Wait for the black market gummy market.
No, I think it would be in our best interest to make sure we have something within the law.
Yeah, 'cause they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you go in Hagerstown, they're everywhere.
And there's a line around everything.
I
I'm in favor, not to be a party group, man, I'm in favor of restricting now, we can always, lessen up later, I don't wanna.
Now, do we have to go to our attorney to draw up something legal?
Maybe. Can't smoke in the park, right?
That's all.
That's no smoking.
So, can't smoke weed in the park.
But the edibles and stuff, that's what they're gonna get at. I mean,
But I don't think he can sell them based off of what we're reading. He's within 500 feet of the park.
No, I'm just talking if people brought edibles with them.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
Well, there's an age restriction too, though, isn't there, Dave, on marijuana?
I think unless it's medical, and even for a medical exception, it's a pretty high standard. A doctor can't just write a 14-year-old prescription for medical marijuana.
Right, they'll write for drops and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's more of the CBD than it is the THC. I mean, it depends. I mean, I know. I mean, we've crossed that bridge and,
So,
Well, I just, I can go to Eric's, like, we can suppose, like, suppose Sherry's Beauty Salon, like the marijuana dispensary. I don't know, are we allowed to say, we don't want that in our downtown? So, I mean, I don't know what we
can
are
you say,
allowed.
when I was reading through that,
You
They
can't.
made it, they made it very clear in that legislation. They gave the municipalities some ability to reduce distances and in some cases increase it under certain conditions. But it's pretty clear from that bill, you can't ban its use within
That's what I
the
thought,
town
too.
boundaries of Boonesboro. Now, the way I'm looking at this is explained to me, and I'm not an expert
Right.
on this, I just called somebody that has been working on this. They basically said when the cannabis law got passed and legalized it in the state of Maryland, had two pieces. Distribution places, distributors, which we're all familiar with, we see them, right? And on-site sale. They never got their regs straight or felt comfortable, and that's why they issued no licenses for on-site sales. The best analogy I can give to you is think of the liquor board. So the liquor board issues licenses for off-site sale and for on-site sale. And this bill, when you read through it, it's all about infused drinks,
cookies,
gummies,
cake.
food.
Yeah.
So I guess the idea behind it, just reading between the lines, you can go in to a restaurant and you would like to have a martini and a gummy. And if they have the license granted by this local board, they would have the ability to do that.
That's our understanding.
You know, again, I certainly wouldn't blame the restaurants because I certainly want everybody to eat a couple of gummies before they order off the menu. That's the best way to go. You're going to make a ton of money. I mean, I get it. But again, I think it's coming whether we like it or not. How do we treat it? Now, there are some games you can play with your zoning. It says certain things and you can identify certain things and talk about that. We can look at those kind of things. If that's something that you want to do, we can take the GIS, we can show parcels that are schools, churches, etc., show a buffer around them, look at where our commercial zoning is so they'll understand where it can go. But to out and out ban it, I don't think.
Can we require a town municipal license?
That's a question for your attorneys. I know when state laws get passed, they have certain conditions. That's not my expertise, but.
Drew, when you talk to your guy about this cannabis board, like I know I'm familiar with the liquor board downtown, where is this going to be located? Because anytime somebody applies for a liquor license, people can go in there and oppose them to
You
get
can go
it.
to the hearing, you can
And
oppose it or go.
wherever this cannabis board is, we could go to those things and say, no, we don't want it, and bring what he says is Alex is less than 500 feet from the park. We don't think he should have it. Where's it gonna be?
My thing is, you're 500 feet from a pre-existing primary or secondary school, or anything like a playground, recreation center, library, 500 feet. But you can't put that dispensary 1,000 foot. You can't put two places, dispensaries, within 1,000 feet from each other. Now that, to me, that don't make any damn sense.
Well, that's just, you don't have, a liquor
No,
store
I
on
mean,
one side of North
I'm
Main
talking
and then
about,
across the street.
500 feet from the school.
Right.
Where you're talking about two weed places, you can't have two weed places within 1,000 feet of each other. To me, that don't make any sense.
It should be the other way around, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
But
it should be all-
it's still away from all the things they want.
That's what I'm.
Well, I guess they're looking at Baltimore City where you got a bar on every block, letting the bar or restaurant sell
So
it.
there's carry out weed and there's weed on tap.
Basically, that's what you're talking.
It's,
On a Bud Light and a Pineapple Express.
it's coming, but can we change to, like, flip things around in here, like 1,000-foot buffer? Like
I
the
would love
school
that.
zone is 1,000 foot, can we change it
I don't,
That's
Well, that's what they were
according to
saying.
what they're saying,
They
we
can't
can't make it bigger.
We can't change it from 500 to.
I don't think so.
not-
You can only reduce it.
You can only reduce it.
The only thing that I didn't ask after hearing y'all's questioning, it's a good question to ask, and I can reach out to Terrence Moore and ask him. And that is specifically the liquor licenses that are issued for off-site sales are limited by population.
Yes.
What is the limiting factor on dispensaries? Because, I mean, you shouldn't, if we all agree that, we're not gonna go through the history of alcohol, but we banned it, then we had it back, whatever, it's restricted on how many people, you can only have so many liquor stores based on your population. I never asked that question, is cannabis gonna be the same?
Also, it's a
I
good
don't know that they
question.
have an answer to that, Drew.
And it's a nice question to ask, where is the board that does this, is it open for public?
Are they gonna have a
comment? Like, you know what I
countywide
mean?
one,
Like the
or
county
is it
liquor
state
board,
to
you
state?
know, somebody's filing for a license, where
Right,
it is, it's advertised, and you can go in and give public comment.
And I didn't see any of that in this version. It's gonna take effect on July 1st.
And a lot of the laws just state what the law is, they leave the regulatory agencies to manage them. And the interesting thing is that the medical cannabis thing falls under the ATF.
Yes.
That's what it falls under. And so does the liquor license, they fall under the ATF also.
Which marijuana and cannabis is still a federal crime.
I know, that's why none of it makes any
No,
sense.
that's,
The ATF had a meeting today. The ATF is merging with the DEA. How interesting is that?
I know it's coming, but I just thought maybe.
How about this, how about I work on a plan? And let me reach out to Tara and see if I can get some more information, and I can take our GIS. Let's look at what the buffers are. My question to you all, if it's not smoked,
If it's not what?
if it's not smoked, because we're in Maryland and we don't allow smoking in restaurants, so they're not gonna allow that. Is there a concern? What are the concerns
But they
about?
stand out right side of the door.
Just think of the devil's advocate, that the devil is gonna come back and go, well, you don't worry about how much somebody has a drink when they go to the bar. They're not out there checking everybody, everybody has to learn to have self-control, blah, blah, blah. Again.
No, it's kind of on a bartender to watch that they.
yeah, well, it can come back. with-
Yeah.
I think my frustration with the whole law is, as with alcohol, there is a method that's been developed to very easily test somebody and see if they're driving while intoxicated.
Right.
They don't have that for marijuana, and until they figure out something that, I don't know, you snap a
Well, as
stick
you
and it
said,
lights
it's
up.
not even legal for the federal government, so we already have a conflicting situation.
Right.
I gave Rachel a contact person down at MML. Get a contact them and see who the representative that we have that works on with these cannabis, and get some, talk to Rachel and get some information, see what we can do and what we can't do, and how to draw up an ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a uniquely small town, whereas the school and the park are all.
Everything's closed.
Very.
And churches. We have
Yeah.
a lot of
When
churches.
when's the next chapter meeting, Howard?
Not till May.
Okay.
May, and that's gonna be in Hancock.
I just thinking, you're probably not the only municipality that heard these same
Right,
words
No.
and has some concerns,
Right.
and you're right, Howard. MML probably has a list of, probably a whole host of information on that.
After all, they work with these people, these buildings.
I know Hagerstown had it on their agenda this week. Last week.
Okay, cool. And we're good to work with, see what we can find out from the city. Yeah, Scott told us Monday night about it.
Looking at our options.
Council and staff have any updates on anything?
We had a an individual reached out to us who had worked really close with Chief Morgan. And he asked about naming a street after him. And Amy's been talking to Kevin's family and kind of getting their input. They did not feel that Kevin would have liked that. They would rather plant a tree. So they want to plant a pink dogwood near the police station. So they get back to
They
you.
have not gotten back to me. She was reaching out to everybody. I just haven't heard
Okay.
anything back yet.
I had proposed that we do it on April 13th, being the anniversary of his passing, which is the day before our next mayor and council meeting, but it might end up that that's not enough time for everybody to attend.
As soon as I hear back, I can let you know.
I just thought that would be a nice thing, we don't have to do it that way.
I do know at one point in time that was always the place that the family would come and watch the fireworks. So they had wanted to do something on the 4th of July, that right after he had passed. So that's a possibility too.
Okay.
But I do know that they had requested a pink.
We did get the street after.
Kevin absolutely wouldn't hate it. He would hate it. And that I got that directly from his mother's mouth.
Can he at least have a plaque at the tree?
Oh yeah.
Right now, anytime.
July would be.
Yep, July's fine. Okay, just have to keep it warm.
Okay.
Well,
So-
when they close the bathrooms, they can dump water on.
All right, put it on the list.
I will make sure the tree stays watered. It'll be close enough
They do
too.
check the restrooms too before they close. I mean, they don't just walk up and.
I know they do, I know, they make sure that they aren't being watched.
It might be. She was gonna reach out to her family and find out.
The first hours of the day, like I said,
But it could be good for them. So I left the option up to you.
We'll let you know for sure when we know when it's gonna be, and for financial purposes, we have plenty of money in the employee appreciation to buy the tree.
I will just make sure.
Throwing it out there before anybody
Price for dogwood, we got contingency fund.
Then, also Howard is out of town on the date of the April workshop, and Drew and I are both off that day. So we're both out of town, so we're going to cancel the April workshop unless some very urgent matter comes up.
You have the assistant mayor here.
We're not gonna have your
Everybody has
manager.
That's April 28th.
If something
I won't be
comes
here either.
I'll be in Paris, so I'm going to.
I guess they're.
Well, I'll be in the next
comes
circle.
up, we'll handle it then, but we figured with this many people not being here, it would make more sense.
I'm just am concerned about if we don't have a hearing or get in scheduled for,
Where you.
cannabis thing, but I guess we can get that done.
I think we would have, I'm sure we'd have plenty of time.
You said that bill takes effect July something.
July 1.
So we've got a little bit of time.
I got one thing. Mary Jane reached out to me and she wanted to know what night the council would want to help as a group for the carnival. She said that any night works for her but Tuesday.
Well, we wanted to do Tuesday.
Well, I told her.
I'll be gone. That's the one.
So,
I say you all should
there.
work Friday.
Beverly will be there. Richie's gonna be there.
I'll be there, yeah.
I just wanted to get one night that the council would be there.
Friday, I nominate you.
Friday, the second Friday, not the first Friday.
I nominate you.
Second
this
Friday's
Friday.
busiest night.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Yeah.
One of the regular years. Forget what night they are, but they're earlier in the week.
Yeah, they're usually
They're like a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
So,
We got some decent entertainment lined up for a change. So good all week. They even got the Hubcaps coming back.
Does anybody have a night?
I will try to make that work.
Okay. Do you want to try to do the Friday night, the second Friday night, busy night? I mean, I'll probably be there regardless, but I don't want to put y'all under that much pressure.
I'm sorry, Tony, what we just.
Yeah, usually Mary Lee strolls over there
Um,
at least five
So
times.
you're talking the
I
30th?
did, I didn't get to do quite as many.
The 30th
since we
is
lost
the second for us.
business
Yeah. I've
Last
seen
time,
that.
but.
What are the dates on?
30th is the second Friday.
Yeah, it'd be the 30th, right. Friday the 30th, May 30th.
What time? Oh, May 30th.
Keep saying
When did you think of
They open at 5 o'clock and they're until after.
5:30 until after 11
And if
sometimes.
it's carnival night, it'll be, or
Fireworks.
fireworks night will be open until after. Yeah.
Fireworks are 10:45.
Well, she won't need everybody to stay all night.
That's when they're advertised.
Yeah.
You can figure about.
We just met with her tonight. She gave us the schedule. We're
The
gonna,
Memorial
the guys
Day
are gonna
might
work.
be on the 26th. The 26th.
I can do whatever you want, Tony.
Well, let's, can we shoot for the 30th then? I think we need to be there by 5:30, no later than 5:30. They'll probably have, the normal crew there to get things started, but then as soon as they open at 6, Marilyn?
They open at 5.
Oh, okay, 5 o'clock then.
They open at 5.
What do you got, 5:30 till 11:30? Yeah.
I will say, sometimes they have help in the beginning that doesn't stay. You know what I mean? So,
If
you know, if you can't come till 7 or 8,
Yeah.
you're still help because first shift gets tired.
They won't turn any of us away, but, yeah, so May 30th, 5 o'clock. Okay, thank you. I'll let her know.
So no workshop, anything else? No workshop.
In April, right.
Well, we probably won't have one in May either.
No, we don't.
See how we got.
That's MML.
That's MML anyway.
And that month it's at Hancock. Outdoor,
I'm gonna miss you all.
outdoor in the park. Anything else? Anything for executive session? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Look at his teacher.
Motion carried.
Yeah, I should-